It's time for Intelligent Machines. Paris Martineau's here. Jeff Jarvis. A great guest, Nate B. Jones, will be joining us to talk about AI. He's one of the best on YouTube to break through the hype. We're going to ask him about this amazing story. Hugging Face says OpenAI's unannounced AI broke in and hacked it autonomously. That's coming up next on Intelligent Machines. It's starting to get weird.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This is Intelligent Machines with Jeff Jarvis and Paris Martineau. Episode 880, recorded Wednesday, July 22nd, 2026. The beans are in the mail. It's time for Intelligent Machines, the show where we cover the latest in AI, robotics, and all those smart doohickeys like my hypercube behind me here, surrounding us day and night. I am so pleased to see Paris Martineau still here. She hasn't given up on me yet. Investigative journalist at Consumer Reports. And
I'll never give up.
The cyclospora has not stolen you away from us.
It's true. It's trying, though.
Yeah, it's very trying. And also here, of course, the wonderful Emeritus Professor of Journalistic Innovation at the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism at the City University of Newmark. And author of many books, including Hot Type, which emerges from the press in mere weeks.
Next month, yes.
At jeffjarvis.com. We have lots of news to talk about, but I think we have the right person to talk about it with. Normally, I was telling Nate this, our guests, we interviewed them and their interests, and today we're going to talk about the AI news. He is one of the foremost commentators on AI. I watch his YouTube channel daily. Nate B. Jones is.
I want to get credit here. Where did you learn about Nate B. Jones?
I learned about it from the wonderful Jeff Jarvis.
You did indeed.
One day, did you see
got to
what
watch
Nate
this
said?
guy.
You got to watch this
and
guy.
subscribe.
And the rest is history.
Nate, it's interesting. Nate's story is kind of interesting. You grew up overseas. Where was that?
I grew up in Indonesia and the Philippines. I remember the first time I saw television. So the journey to AI has been very much a big leap for me.
Wow. You were head of product for Amazon Prime Video.
Uh-huh.
So, in fact, one of the things I really like about you is your presentation is excellent. You know how to talk to the camera. You know how to deliver. And maybe that's because you worked at Prime Video. I don't know. But unlike a lot of YouTubers, you're really good with the camera.
I think I just have fun, talking. It's funny. I started talking about AI in around the COVID era. And I was like, well, what do? I have a little bit of spare bandwidth. I should start talking about, I did machine learning at Amazon, and there was these LLMs. I was just going to talk. And video just felt so natural for me. It felt like I was just talking and I could connect with a friend. And I think that's where sort of that maybe that dynamic vibe comes from. It feels like a personal medium for me.
Jeff discovered you on TikTok, and those TikTok shorts are great, but the longer form YouTube videos are a must watch. And then there's also a Substack, which people can follow. And I've been talking about you for a while. I adopted OpenBrain as my
nice.
memory. Yeah. I use Hermes as my agent, but I started using OpenBrain with Claude Code and later modified it to work with Hermes. He is really great on talking, not in hype terms. That's one of the problems I have with the YouTubers. There's a lot of hype, and you always wonder, who's stroking who. Nate's great. Yep. He just tells it like it is.
Nate does it. He makes it. And then talks about that.
Yeah, and if you want to just kind of get a sense of what all this means, great commentator to go to. So that's why I'm thrilled we have you today. Because, man, what a week this has been.
It's really good timing, right? We didn't know this when we scheduled it, but we have this on the calendar, and it feels perfect given everything that's been going on.
So I got to start with the Hugging Face breach, because this developed in a way that was kind of unpredictable. Hugging Face said we were breached, and then they said, well, wait a minute. Looks like wait a minute, what's going on here? We were breached by an autonomous AI agent system.
Yep.
And then they said, and we couldn't fix it because the AIs we were using, Fable and Sol, had too many guardrails and wouldn't let us do cybersecurity. So we went to a Chinese model, GLM 5.2, to get it fixed. And then they said, and it was OpenAI that did it. And then OpenAI said, yeah, it was
OpenAI didn't confess, they bragged. Oh, look what we did.
That's the first question. I'm so glad I can ask you, Nate, because how much of this is marketing and hype from OpenAI?
So I think that the reason we even ask that question is because of the whole storyline with Mythos and Fable a few months ago, where Anthropic trots out Mythos and says, it's sort of scare marketing, right? This is the scariest thing since sliced bread. This is like an atomic weapon. We're all terrified. The Treasury Secretary calls in a bunch of bankers and says, this is legit. It's really scary. And I saw that narrative unfolding, and everyone was like, Anthropic has got to be marketing. But look at how that unfolded for them. I talked to some of the guys at Anthropic. By and large, the folks I talked to are not super happy about how that whole thing went down. Because effectively, they lost control of their own launch. Fable got rolled back for an unpredictable amount of time. They then had to put Fable back out. And by the time they put Fable back out, there were other frontier models. So they lost their sweet spot where they were the best, most amazingest model for a few weeks, which is what you really want. And so that may have been a goal of theirs, to emphasize their capability in a way that was sort of a, hey, look what I can do. It didn't go well for them. And I think that when I look at OpenAI in this situation, I don't think it goes well for them if they keep pursuing that path, right? If they make this a deliberate thing, I don't think it's a good approach. What I know and what I've seen so far, it looks like they are trying to put the best face they can on something that wasn't supposed to happen.
So they have two models. One is Sol that's public, but there is also a model they haven't released. By the way, that model, related story, solved with a counterexample a famous mathematical problem, the Jacobian problem, just right before.
Yep. During the World Cup final, apparently.
And then the same unreleased model apparently broke. I don't even understand what this means. It didn't break out, but it did break in to Hugging Face.
Right. So
it broke out of the sandbox, the test environment.
It certainly broke out of the sandbox.
It was trying to solve this is exploit Jim, right?
Not the first instance of this. Didn't another OpenAI model break out of a sandbox to order a sandwich?
No, you're thinking of that was a marketing ploy. That was okay. Go. I'll let Nate tell that story. That was definitely marketing on that.
Two incidents in the last, call it 72-ish hours, with an as yet unreleased model from OpenAI that caused OpenAI to internally pause deployment. One of the ones is the one we're talking about with Hugging Face. There was another one that was limited to internal issues where that model got out of its sandbox environment internally, and there were some issues inside OpenAI that they're not talking about a whole lot. But it was concerning enough that they released a statement on it, and they decided to pause internal deployment. And I'm not sure what all that means because they have thousands of employees, so who knows exactly what that means.
But aren't you talking about a much earlier episode with the sandwich?
With the sandwich was an Anthropic Mythos story.
The sandwich is completely unrelated.
I'm not talking about the sandwich.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the reason the sandwich is in Paris's mind is because Anthropic said, "Oh, it escaped the sandbox," but it was told to escape the sandbox in that case.
In this case, it wasn't told to escape the sandbox.
And that's an important distinction.
That's kind of an important point, right? In this case, it was told to get an answer to a test, and the model figured out, hey, the easiest path to do this is to just go hack into Hugging Face and get the test results. It's basically like going to cheat on the paper and saying, I can break the lock on the teacher's desk and I can get the answers out. That's what it is.
And it wasn't told not to. There was no guardrail.
It wasn't told not to, so why not, right?
It didn't know that the sandbox was limited. Is that fair to say?
It knew enough to have to work around it, right? Like, it was aware of its environmental edges. It had to work its way out, but it was not told explicitly not to do it as far as we know.
It did what Mythos was rug pulled for. It chained together multiple attack vectors. Once it figured out that the answers, the data sets and the solutions for exploit Jim were stored on Hugging Face, it chained together attacks using stolen credentials. This is from OpenAI's own story, and zero-day vulnerabilities to find a remote code execution path on the servers. And then it broke in.
Oh,
and it
you
got the
nasty
answer.
model, you.
But it did what it was. It did in one way. You could say, well, it did what it's told to do. It got the
Hey,
answer.
you told me to make paper clips. I made paper clips.
It's sort of that problem set, I think. And that's something someone pointed out on X. They were like, when this model broke containment, it's not the sort of doomsday scenario where the model autonomously picks a target that's outside the original goal and goes and does something like that, right? Oh, I'm going to pick a nuclear power plant. I'm going to go target that. No. It's pursuing its goal. It just needs to get these test answers. It just happens to think the appropriate way to do that is to break into Hugging Face.
Wow. Okay, so it wasn't OpenAI. It's not like Anthropic's sandwich story. It's not really about marketing. It's really an unexpected behavior.
Well, it's not entirely unexpected. OpenAI has said in a different blog post that it posted on Monday that it had witnessed powerful AI models trying to break out of sandboxes when they're instructed to run for a long period of time on their own. So it's not unexpected behavior. It is a little surprising that you'd have a test like this and given that historical information not include a constraint that says, don't break out of your sandbox, please.
Oh, they were doing that part on purpose. So part of what they were trying to do is simulate a relatively unguardrailed model capability set to see what would happen and sort of understand the risk envelope. And they were betting that their internal systems around the model were strong enough to contain it, and they were wrong.
So it's a commentary on guardrails in two ways, right? That OpenAI didn't anticipate all the guardrails it needed, A, and then B, when Hugging Face tried to use models in defense, the defensive guardrails that were in place stopped them. So guardrails didn't work in two radically different ways, no? That's
important to call out, is that both of them, I think, are worth talking about because we can draw different lessons from each, right? Like the internal one, I think it's a lesson in the complexity that these models are generating across vectors. And they're, in a sense, at a scale that is unanticipatable, even by people who spend their entire lives obsessing over these models. Like no one is more qualified than a bunch of people at a frontier lab to put a system in place that enables them to safely test a risk envelope. But that still didn't work. And that speaks to me of the scaling laws being intact, of the model getting more and more capable, and of us humans, frankly, needing some autopilot help to manage these models. And I think that's one of my big takeaways. And I think on the other side, it's a story about unintended second order effects. Everyone hears the idea that you should put guardrails around models and says that's a good thing. And then 2 a.m. rolls around, or whenever this attack took place rolls around, and someone's like, I need to have Fable on this to analyze all of these events so I can see what's going on. And Fable's like, no, I was guardrailed. I can't help you. Nothing I can do here. And now you can't use a frontier model for cyber defense.
Couldn't OpenAI get Sol to do it?
Couldn't OpenAI get?
Oh, I guess it was Hugging Face.
It was Hugging Face that needed it.
No, Hugging Face tried an OpenAI model and it got the same issue.
Sol wouldn't do it either.
Yeah.
So they turned to, and this is really the second half of the story, a Chinese model which had no guardrails to do
effectively none. Yeah, that was more than happy to be helpful
and did it. Right.
And did it, and was actually saved them days working through the event log. It was something like 17,000 adversarial events or something.
So that's how they used GLM 5.2. That's how they used it. They said, here's the events, go through these and pinpoint the break.
Figure out what's going on.
Yeah. Very interesting.
Is it true? So Leo and Paris know more about these details than I do. So I'm the dumb one here. Is it true that if you had an open weight model that you're running locally, that guardrails are irrelevant because whatever guardrail is there you can then take down, which is of course the fear of the open source enemies. But does having open weights make a difference in this equation? Not just that it's Chinese and didn't have the guardrails.
I think you're sort of conflating two different things, right? Like the frontier models from OpenAI and Anthropic are not open weights.
Right.
And if they were open weights, you could potentially modify those weights with a fine tune in a way that would enable you to change the behavior of the model.
Okay.
Well, plus the classifiers are external to the model, right? So the things that they're using to make Mythos into Fable run kind of after as
Yes,
the tokens are going out.
A handicap that you give the model,
right,
to dumb it down a little bit in certain ways.
So if you could run the model locally, you would just not turn on.
Right.
You wouldn't have a
Now,
classifier.
I will say these frontier models do not run on a laptop. Like my laptop is not running.
Well, that's the big story, right? In fact, that's why we're going to talk about Kimi too. Hugging Face probably does have the resources to run it locally.
They did, and they said they were running GLM 5.2 locally.
They were,
and that is a fairly hefty sized model.
No kidding. Yeah, it's 2.4 trillion parameters. Per billion? No, trillion. Yeah,
it's not a just stick it on a Mac Mini and forget about it model, right?
Yeah, I have
What's
a
the
few
heaviest
of those.
hardware you have to run things, Nate?
You have a Spark, don't you?
I have a Spark. Like my whole team is like very into AI, and so we have like a Spark. We have a bunch of Mac Minis. We are not at the point yet where we have like a full Nvidia rack. I don't see that happening for a while. It's a little bit pricey.
You don't have Vera Rubin in the basement? Come on.
No, sadly. If you want to send me Vera Rubin, I'll find a home for it. But that's where we're at.
We're talking to Nate B. Jones, who is a stellar analyst on the wild AI story going on these days. I watch religiously every morning. He does daily feeds on TikTok, on YouTube. He has a Substack. He has a website. He also will consult your business, right? I mean, is that your main business?
Yeah. So it's funny that you say that. I have a team with me that works on helping me deliver AI transformation stories for businesses. And so I get, as you would imagine, so much inbound coming in, asks for help, asks for AI transformation assistance. I have a team I work with to do that. And I would say that having those conversations is really exciting for me because it means I get to look at businesses of different scales, see where they're at in their stories, et cetera. And a lot of my time these days, to be honest, is focused on the things that only I can do. And sort of telling these stories the way I tell them is something that I've been really obsessing over to make sure that we are getting the right perspective and keeping up and the community is kept up, et cetera. And then the team steps in and sort of helps out with a lot of the blocking and tackling.
We have a little team of our own in Club Twit, and Darren Oki, who's one of our very active AI using members, says GLM 5.2 is 744 billion parameters, but it's also a mixture of experts, an MOE model.
It's an MOE.
So you can kind of run it a little easier. One of our other experts, Blindwiz, did a 1-bit quant version on his doubles. He has 2 Sparks.
Oh, that's fun. That's a fun way to do it.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd want to run a 1-bit quant of anything, but okay. If you, that's a very dumbed down version of the same model. So let me ask you about Kimi, because the other big story, and it's related really, is these. Once Fable came back to us and Sol ChatGPT 5.6 came out. Both of them very heavy-duty frontier models. The Chinese responded very quickly with their versions, which they say, they're only one notch below Fable quality, and they're open weight. Not that you would ever run it unless you had a lot of hardware locally, but that does mean that companies like OpenRouter can run it.
And Microsoft is looking at Kimi K3 too. Like it's not just they're big names looking at it.
I would assume Palantir is using this in its model we discussed last week.
So these companies that do have a lot of hardware can run it locally, which takes it out of the hands of China, puts it in the United States, there's a lot of thought that this is a threat. We talked privately over the week about Dean W. Ball's Twitter post.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Dean, who is now, just as of the last 2 weeks, a future strategist at OpenAI, suddenly works for OpenAI.
By the way, is there such a thing as a past strategist?
I would like to see one.
Historian.
Yeah.
Is that Christopher Nolan now with the Odyssey?
I think so, yeah.
Ball, posted, and we probably would have talked about this if we didn't have so much else to talk about, posted a thing that scared a lot of people, saying all these open weight models are going to put the frontier companies in the U.S. out of business, because who's going to invest in a frontier company hundreds of billions of dollars when there's open weight companies coming out of
AI communism.
Yeah, he called it communism, basically. And then the other problem, of course, is there's some question of whether the Chinese might start blocking these open weight models, although I was very impressed, believe it or not, by President Xi's talk at the AI summit.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
He really embraced the idea of open weight, and maybe that is the philosophy of the Chinese government. It's just like their Belt and Roads initiative, AI for all coming from China. Aren't we great people doing this?
You want innovation, you want productivity, you want advancement.
And I think he has Jensen Huang shaking in his boots. They're certainly trying to.
He has Jensen Huang agreeing with him, though.
That was the interesting thing. We'll talk about that too. But I wanted to ask Nate about Kimi, because you have used Kimi. I can't, because they quickly ran out of inference. Nobody can run it.
No, I ran Kimi through my full test bench.
Good. What do you think?
Look, it's a very solid model. I think the way that I compare most Chinese models with frontier models in the US is by describing them in terms of their ability to generalize across difficult problem spaces. And so I have a visual metaphor for this. I'm going to wave my hands a little bit. A frontier model like 5.6 Sol or like Fable 5 is better at generalizing across the edges of a distribution, which means it can tackle more complex around the edges, around the corner tasks. And a Chinese model tends to be spikier. It tends to be more centered from a distribution perspective, which means it can actually be stronger at work that you do all the time. I think a good example is that Kimi K3 is really, really, really good at websites. It's pretty good at PowerPoints. Some of this stuff that is down the middle of the distribution, it's very, very strong at. And to top that all off, as a coding model, it doesn't have guardrails. So I saw someone was able to take a command like copy Mac OS, and they got pretty far with Kimi K3 because Kimi K3 doesn't have any issue with copying Tim's operating system. It's like, oh yeah, that's fine, I'll do that. And
you basically made a website that looks exactly like, and surprisingly deep. Looks exactly
surprisingly deep, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's a little spikier in the middle. It doesn't necessarily do the edges. And I think that where you see some of these examples like the Jacobian conjecture, right? Like those kinds of pieces we continue to see coming out of frontier models because of the frontier model's stronger ability to generalize. But that doesn't mean that tools like Kimi aren't fantastic for a lot of everyday work.
This is he spent half of his tokens in Kimi designing. This is a Mac OS. This is a web page, but it has a lot of the functionality of Mac OS. even the point photo booth works, and it works with the camera. I mean, it's pretty impressive. This is, but it's not. I mean, it isn't obviously an operating system.
It's not the full thing, right? I don't want to make the claim it like actually did it, but it did a surprisingly good job for a command that big.
Yeah. Well,
you made the point in one of your videos how much horsepower, how much hardware do you have to run Kimi K3, and you talked about its inefficiencies as well.
Yeah, I think that's something that's really important to emphasize. Like we have, at least a lot of the folks I talk to have a popular narrative that these models are cheap to run because they come from China. And with Kimi, it's not actually that cheap to run. It tends to produce more tokens per solved problem than the frontier models like Fable and OpenAI's 5.6 Sol. And so it's roughly somewhere between 1.5 and 2x the number of tokens per solved problem, even if it's correctly solved. And they're not super cheap tokens if you're just getting them from Kimi directly. And so in that sense, you don't get a ton of savings using Kimi if you're using it from a cloud provider. Now, obviously, if you're running it internally and your only cost is the power to run the tokens and you're okay with burning more tokens, it's a different story.
Yeah. There is, though, DeepSeek V4 Pro, which is incredibly cheap to run. I don't know if they're running at a loss or what.
Yeah, DeepSeek is even like much cheaper.
It's so cheap.
And I think that's where the narrative came from, is because we had that DeepSeek moment and it was so cheap to run, et cetera, et cetera.
Right. But at the same time, or shortly after Kimi came out, Alibaba came out with a Qwen 3.8. I'm running the preview version of it. It seems quite good as well, right?
Yep. It's a solid model.
And then there's GLM 5.2, which actually is the one my day-to-day agentic model for my Hermes agent, and it feels very solid. So there are three very good solid models, and actually DeepSeek ain't so bad, and it's incredibly cheap.
Yep.
So I understand this narrative that China is undercutting American frontier AI. You feel that's fair?
So I think this is one of the things I've always found amusing about this narrative. Frontier models are notoriously easy to port across borders. It's just a bunch of vector weights in a machine. You can put up guardrails to some extent, but in that world, getting the model across borders is very, very trivial. And so in a sense, I'm actually surprised it's taken this long to have, and of course, Anthropic says there was a distillation attack involved with Kimi K3.
Well, so does David Sachs says, it's all distilled, it's all
But
stolen.
even Ball didn't say that.
Oh,
no, it's not just distilled.
It's not distilled. Yeah, Ball
distilled.
says Kimi's not distilled. What do you mean it's not distilled? How do they do it?
So what I mean is that whether or not it is distilled is not a question we have to answer to understand the value of the model, because the white papers coming out of China are very, very strong on how you engineer models for utility given tight chip constraints. Like there's a lot of really interesting innovation that's going on. And I think it's a little bit disingenuous to say it's only distilled. There may be distillation going on. We can be ambivalent about that. We can say that might be happening, but that doesn't mean that's the only thing that's happening.
ZAI is building its own data center, probably with all Huawei chips. They certainly don't have the Nvidia chips. What do you think of the... See, I feel like a lot of this is neener, like, they probably had stolen Nvidia chips for the training. Do you think that's necessary? Who cares?
Like who cares? They have a good model. And I think the larger story here is that model proliferation is something we should expect. And just like the Napster era, when music just wanted to be free, and it took us a while to figure out the business model for that, intelligence kind of just wants to be mostly free. And I think that the question that the frontier model labs are going to have to face is, in a world where a lot of the everyday intelligence just wants to be free, what is the incremental value add from extraordinary intelligence? Like, is there something that's like, okay, this frontier model from Anthropic is incredible with cancer, and we can charge an arm and a leg for it to people who are working on curing cancer, and that's how we make our money? Like, is that where the future goes? I don't know the answer, but I think that a lot of the answer looks at basically the price of alpha in a frontier model and says there are certain people who will pay a lot for that, and that is where the pricing power will come from, and that's where the economics will come from.
So do you think there's a huge layer of AI as infrastructure? If China comes in free with good models and they can be run locally with open weight, then is there a level of AI that becomes like the internet, something we all should expect to just have?
And I think that's where we're going. Like, if you look at well over 95% of ChatGPT users just use the free version. It's free. Mm-hmm. They just use it. They don't use the best version. They get routed to whatever model OpenAI decides is free, and that's what they get. And they don't care. And from a corporate perspective, I think a lot of the conversation is about how do we constrain token costs, right? And this is something where Anthropic has had a bit of a narrative reversal since late last year when they really broke on the scene over winter break. A lot of companies, very publicly, Uber among them, are saying we've run through our token budget. We can't afford this thing. And they are looking actively at open weights models as a way to continue to provide intelligence to their workers without costing an arm and a leg. And so I think that that's the other piece of this, is that instead of just talking about it as a consumer story, it's also a corporate story where corporations are trying to figure out how they leverage intelligence within budgetary guardrails.
I want to correct myself. It wasn't David Sachs. It was his replacement at the Office of Technology and Science Policy, Michael Kratsios, who tweeted, "We have information that Moonshot AI distilled Anthropic's fable for the development of the K3 model. Also, they acquired GB300 equipped servers and have access to GB300s in Thailand, those sons of guns. And this is protectionist, basically."
It's like, you can't have this, and it's bad for you to have it, but it's good for you to have it. Like, I don't know. All right. It's not going to last.
So tell us what you do and what you use. How do you use AI? You were mentioning earlier your wife, who is a Hugo Award-winning writer, is using AI. She's not using it to write, though.
No. In fact,
we should also mention, I don't think it's a secret, she is blind and deaf.
Yes. That's right. And she's actually written books about that as well. So Being Seen is her most recent published book, and it's all about that experience. It's a memoir.
What's her experience with AI, having you in the house?
So she will talk about it and say she feels like AI has been a tremendous accessibility booster for her because it enables her to effectively compute against her environment in ways that would have required her asking for help from folks in other places. And so now she's self-sufficient, right? She's independent in more ways than she was before. And she's a very independent lady. You can watch her NPR segment. She fights with swords and rides horses and this and that. But
whoa,
yeah,
well,
no,
that's
it's
awesome.
I'm the dumb one in the house. She's the smart one. But she's talked about AI being a tremendous tide coming in, the boat's all being raised as far as how AI is enabling her and other disabled folks to compute against their world and get work done. And even to the point where like you think about settings on your computer and the settings are often in fine print and it's like difficult to navigate them. Well, you can use Codex to do that now, right? You're going to say, hey, Codex, fix this. I don't know how to fix it, but just fix it. And
I do that all the time. I mean, honestly, I haven't configured a computer in months.
Exactly. I was using Codex. I have this new camera setup. I was using Codex to fix a driver issue with my camera setup just yesterday, and I did it in 5 minutes. It was great.
What's your preferred? You use Claude Code? Do you use Codex? What do you like to use?
Codex is my daily driver. Now, I do have, like if I'm doing a complicated code build, I built a multi-agent system called Ringer, which is more token efficient. And so what Ringer does is it takes a fairly fancy model like Fable 5 as an orchestrator, and then it farms those tasks out to much cheaper models to do the actual coding and so on. So when I'm doing a heavy build, I'll use something like Ringer, but Codex has been really handy because the ergonomics of Codex are really, really, really clean. Like if I tell Codex, go do this on my computer, computer use is fast, it's easy to understand, it just gets it done.
It's also very good at deleting directories and anything.
Well, I use Review for Me for a reason. So like the nice thing about Review for Me is that it puts another model to watch that your intent is being guarded throughout. Smart. And I do recommend doing that.
You talked about that in the video you made about your wife's website, that the primary model misquoted her and did other things.
Right. And so we had to have, and I built that into Ringers. It's essentially the same thing where it's guarding and putting checks and balances.
Smart.
So why doesn't the model itself come with the things that you add on?
Well,
if the concern is about hallucinations,
some agentic harnesses do.
Right. So is that going to be something we should expect that becomes built in more as opposed to you having to add that on?
I don't think that we should expect that to change because I think that we are at a point with models where models are a lot like managing people. And so if I'm managing someone, I don't expect them to be both the author and the editor and the reviewer and the checker of their work and be all the way done with it. That's not a reasonable expectation because their goal is to write, and I need someone else with a different pair of eyes to do the edit and the review.
Unless you're a blogger, in which we do it all, but go ahead. Yes.
Yeah, there you go. But in the same way, like I think that models are single-minded in their purpose. They're designed, especially for long-running work, to be focused on a goal obsessively, which is exactly what we saw with this Hugging Face incident. And when you want to safeguard them, you don't want to tell them, please turn down your goal focus, because that wouldn't be what you want. Instead, you want to check and balance, right? You want a different model that has a different goal that can look at that work and say, is this in line with the user's intent and with the stated guardrails, right? And so I think in that sense, it's less about imagining a perfect model that can do all of this endogenously, and it's more about constructing management systems that allow models that behave like colleagues to work like colleagues.
I have been doing that myself, kind of intuitively, but I have to take a look at what you've built. Yeah. Everybody should follow Nate B. Jones on TikTok or YouTube. I watch it every morning. His Substack and everything else is at his website, natebjones.com. And as I think you probably can tell, this is a guy you want to listen to. There's no hype, just smart, informative information about how to use AI better, both as a company and as an individual. I've learned so much from you, Nate, and I've been wanting to talk to you for a long time, so I'm thrilled.
It's not easy to find you, by the way, Nate. Try to find an email for you.
You know what? I asked Hermes, and it found your secret email address. So
there you go.
That was the trick.
Now the secret's out. You can say
no, I'm not telling anybody. That's my secret sauce. And for people who are tuning in who are fans of Nate B. Jones and are going, wait a minute, where's the wool cap? Wait a minute, you've got a beautiful set.
Yeah.
And are you going to not wear the wool cap anymore, or what?
No, I'll
What
still wear it, but
wool
like,
cap are we
remember,
talking about?
it's summer, right? Wearing a beanie hat is something that works better when it's cold and raining out in Seattle. And like, I'm looking out the window.
You should pivot
like,
to a sauna hat, which is also made of
I
wool,
love
but is
sauna
supposed to.
but they're very Finnish. It's an acquired taste.
A sauna hat?
interesting.
I don't even know about that.
I didn't either. And I like
You
saunas.
should be wearing a sauna hat in the sauna. It makes a big difference. You can
It
stay
does
in
make
there
a
for
big
much
difference.
longer.
You wouldn't think wearing a wool hat cools you down, but it really does.
And it gets very interesting looks from all the fellow people in the sauna that are not wearing a sauna hat.
I'm kind of blown away that you know about sauna hats. I didn't even.
I'm a big sauna fan.
Oh, you are.
Personally.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, you're smart. Nate's channel, AI News and Strategy Daily, is at Nate B. Jones on YouTube. There's the hat, Paris, just in case
Yep.
you wanted to know. And man, I loved your old set because it looked like we were just sitting with you in your office. You got all fancy on
Just
us.
a little bit. We're going to dress it up. The Legos are still here. The books are still here.
You got a producer. That's what happened. I
Oh,
tell
there you
you.
go. I sold out to the producer.
No, I wish you the best, and I'm really thrilled that you do what you do because I've learned so much from you.
Same here. Can I ask one more question? Yeah.
Yes.
Sure.
I'm curious about your sense of what the policy after the China discussion. Gary Marcus, in his inimitable fashion, had 7 options.
Yeah.
From do nothing to outlaw open source AI. When Xi and Trump meet, God knows what's going to happen then.
Right.
But what would a wise U.S. policy reaction to all of this be?
So I think it would be smarter to focus on a common threat modeling framework for extremely advanced AI. And if you think about it from a reducing risk to all of us perspective, it would be great if Chinese and American policymakers could align on this is the capability level where we would set a certain threshold for rollouts and we're all aligned on what that looks like. And I don't see that right now. I'm not even sure that's on the table as a proposed option.
Is that something that can be quantified now?
Yeah, we did it with Fable and we did it with Mythos. Like, it's actually not impossible to do. We just need to do it consistently internationally and not just make it a nationalist project. I am a lot less worried about the idea that we have open weights models and they're just going to be there, because I don't think you can put the cat back in the bag. Like, I think we're going to have open weights models regardless. And if you want to have opinions about chips that are being sold and where they can be sold, you can do that. But ultimately, we are going to live in a world with ambient, almost free intelligence. And we are all going to decide what we care about accessing based on our own personal preferences. And I actually happen to think that one of the unspoken defenses that American corporations have is the stranglehold that the Apple iStore has on so much of how we interact with intelligence. Like, if you think about it, people are getting these apps and they're downloading them and they're using them. And yes, there was a DeepSeek moment, but I will tell you, even though DeepSeek is in the store, when I look over people's shoulders as they use AI, and I do that politely sometimes, and they're normies, and they're not, people who are weird like me who pay for the Max plan, they are using ChatGPT. And they're using ChatGPT because it's a habit. And when I was at Amazon, we like to say, Amazon has no moat. The only moat is the habit of people going to Amazon.com. And I think in that sense, the habit of going to ChatGPT is not necessarily something that people are going to shift just because, in theory, a free open weights model is around. And I think that's worth talking about as well.
Well, I know where you'll be talking about it. Nate B. Jones on YouTube. Nate, thank you so much for your time. It's really been a pleasure. And
It's been a delight.
I hope we can have you back at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a lot of fun to chat.
Good.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Nate.
Thank you. Thanks for OB1. That's fantastic.
There you, I'm glad you love Open Brain. That's been a really fun one.
It's funny because I installed it. It took me about 3 months to figure out, it's OB1.
Yeah, you got it.
I'm a little
That
slow.
was a little pun that I snuck in there.
Nate B. Jones, thank you so much.
All right.
We
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you. It's been
Thank you, Nate.
Well, lots
All
to
right.
talk about. More coming up on Intelligent Machines right after this. Our sponsor for this segment of Intelligent Machines is Rippling. Yes, Rippling.ai. These days you can chat with AI about pretty much any business problem, but only Rippling AI is built to solve them. What makes Rippling AI different? It's built on your live global workforce data. That makes a huge difference. One platform, one unified source of truth with all your business systems connected from day one. That means Rippling AI can operate with the full context of your live business, surfacing insights and taking action using your org chart, your payroll, device inventory, your compliance obligations, and more. I'll just give you a simple example. Let's say you wake up and you say, we got some great people. I want to focus on talent retention. So you go to Rippling AI and you say, just ask a simple prompt. Who are my top performers this year? Now, because Rippling AI has all that information, you're going to instantly receive a complete workforce report highlighting your highest performing employees with supporting data like comp ratios, recent performance reviews, engagement metrics, all the stuff you need to make an intelligent decision. You make the decision, but here's the second part that's awesome. You got the data, you got the insight. Rippling AI can then take that insight and turn it into real action. For instance, as an example, it might recommend a retention strategy that includes a 10% spot bonus for top performers. Reasonable, right? Well, because permissions are automatically inherited and your actions flow through your existing approval chains, all you have to do is review, say, oh, that's a good idea, tap confirm, and boom, the bonus is added to the next payroll run. Just that easy. Don't settle for AI that's all talk. Head to rippling.ai/machines and get the only AI built to give you full visibility across your business and take complex actions across your entire organization. That's rippling.ai/machines. Sign up for exclusive access today, rippling.ai/machines. We thank them so much for their support of intelligent machines. And now I've got some Elsa Sunan, I don't know how you pronounce that, to read too. I can't wait to read some of her stuff. Hugo Award winning. And Nate's wife. By the way, I did buy a sauna hat while we were talking. Because I didn't know I needed one. How did I know?
You're muted.
How? You haven't stopped talking since we talked about the sauna hat.
Oh, that's the amazing thing. I can talk and do things at the same time. I Googled sauna hats, and I immediately found a variety of places that sell sauna hats. But I liked one that was, I think it fit my style. I don't know. You have to tell me, Paris, if I bought the right sauna hat.
Oh, that's a really good one.
The reason being, I'm going on a Southeast Asia cruise in the fall, and it's on Viking, which has a very, I'm told,
it's so funny to see
a Viking in the Viking. They have two things I'm excited about. They have a very good sauna because they're from Norway or wherever. They're from Scandinavia, but also they have a snow room. So you go out of the sauna.
Yeah, the snow room is, that's actually quite important. Sorry. I just got an email as I was speaking, and unlike you, I haven't figured out how to It's always about cyclospora. I need to not read and talk, or I need to develop a second brain like you, where I can think and talk. Well, I think too much. I need to think less.
That's true.
I think the funny thing about the Viking sauna hat is going to be like you walk into a sauna, you see someone in a sauna hat, they look a specific way. They look like a little bell.
Yeah,
and you're like,
usually they're just like
hat.
little flowers on your
looks
head.
like a completely separate thing. So I like the idea that people are going to be like, oh yeah, this man's just really into Viking.
Yeah, sauna hats are supposed to look more like this, right? With a little loop on the top.
Yeah, they look like
you look like you're a human bell.
It looks like a bell.
I don't want to wear that. I want to wear Viking helmet.
So Paris, have you done saunas in Germany?
No.
Do you know about that?
No, what's up with saunas in Germany?
They're
are naked
and mixed.
Because
that's fun.
Despite the fact that Germans are obsessive about privacy.
I wrote about this.
But nudity isn't that big of a deal.
Not in Germany, not at all. No.
They call them your private parts, but are they?
So
Howard Stern, issue a correction.
Well, that's how I titled my book, Public Parts.
Public Parts.
So I was in Davos, pardon me for that, and I was in the sauna with a bunch of sweating Russians. And the door opened, and in looked to me like it was looked like an American couple, and there was this shriek, and they closed the door. And I thought it was because, there was an American Karen or something and didn't know what she was getting into. And so there's the days of blogging all the time or tweeting all the time. I blogged about this. And then the next year, I met the woman who was at the door and shrieked. And she's actually European and very savvy about all this. And she said, no, the reason I shrieked is because I saw you and I knew you.
Oh.
That's fair. That's actually a fair
Yeah, you don't
point.
want to go to sauna naked with people you know.
No.
I just think, you'll never be able to unsee that.
Right. I once did an Arte interview in a sauna because I wrote about saunas and they thought this would be funny. So I had to sit in a sauna doing a TV interview.
My friend Mikkel Olin, the photographer, actually did a book called Sauna. Sauna Pictures. He's from Finland.
Well, that's where they know how to do it.
He's from Norway, but Finnish saunas are
they have them in their houses.
The Norwegians also know how to do it sauna-wise. I went to a sauna in Norway that was like multi-leveled, and they had people playing saxophones in there.
I want a sauna so bad.
Get one, Leo. What is
had
the
a
point of
steam
being?
shower. This house had a steam shower, and I thought,
Dude, what is the point of having a home if you're not just going to get a sauna?
I'm just going to take the steam shower out and put in a sauna.
Yeah.
'Cause you can't steam. I like steam. But I like the hot that the sauna, and then you put a little water on the rocks, and then you get the steam.
Replace the piano room you have with a sauna.
Micah Sargent, who is watching, says there is no evidence that Viking helmets had horns on them.
That's fair.
So I'm going to be a historic anachronism. Maybe I should have bought this instead. This would have been the other hat that I was considering. It says on the front, Captain Sweat. What do you think?
I think that you should get that, but then if anyone tries to refer to you by anything else, you'd be like, no, I'm sorry. My name is Captain Sweat. Read the hat, please.
So you do a sauna every day?
No, I live in Brooklyn. I
know, but there's got to be a sauna nearby, like a Russian baths or something.
There's not as close as you'd want. The nearest is like, I'm in a very unfortunate position. That's ridiculous. I'm in a very lucky position, but one of the few unfortunate things about the wonderful neighborhood I live in is I'm like a 20-minute walk away from the nearest gym, that also includes the sort of thing that would include a sauna, and that's just far enough.
Who would want to walk to a gym? I mean, that's crazy.
Well, I mean, I do sometimes, but sometimes I bike, and it's just
we know
annoying.
your route to Orange Theory because we saw it on the show.
It's true, and it takes a minute.
If you go to the chat.
Yeah.
No, you're right. And that's why I have a gym in the house, and I mostly work out with things like kettlebells and clubs because I want to have it right. I don't want to go to the gym. I want to have it right here. I literally this week, I've been contemplating whether I should start doing Pilates instead because there's like 7 Pilates studios within a minute from me. I'm going to give you the inside track on Pilates because I'm an expert. First of all, I have a Cadillac Pilates in the gym. I bought a very nice one.
It sounds like you're having a stroke, even though I know that those are words that go together.
Yeah, it's the big one with the metal bars, and you can hang by your feet from cuffs. And it's the full reformer. It's the whole kit and caboodle with all the springs and everything. And because I used to go every single day to do Pilates for years. I never got more fit. It's kind of good for stretching, but it's not aerobic. It's hard, but I think you're getting more out of your Orange Theory than you would be getting out of Pilates, I'll be honest with you.
I know, but I need to figure out, there's a lot of places near me that seem to be fairly intense. I know a lot of people
That's the new thing.
Are very,
it's like
fit,
body
and
rock.
They're
doing these very fast
I would say they do find that if you're going to a certain class with instructors, part of the goal is to push you and actually you end up leaving very sore. But I don't know.
Pilates will make you sore.
I'm going to try and...
If that's what you're going for.
I think if I go to a class of some sort that is a 1 minute walk from my house, I'll probably go more
Pilates is
frequently.
great. It's a good life.
It's just annoying to have an hour workout and then calculate that it'll be an extra 40 minutes when you calculate how long it takes to get there and back. I don't have 2 hours every day.
In our Discord says a good Pilates is excellent for strength and flexibility, not aerobics. I would agree, although it's not. See, as an older man on a GLP-1, I need to do weight resistance. You will too, because women often have lose bone mass. And I don't think Pilates gives you enough weight.
I mean, that's the thing is I ideally would like a workout that mixes cardio and actual strength training.
Exactly. That's what you should have.
I don't know. It seems impractical to be constantly going 30 minutes every week. I'm sorry for taking the podcast time with everybody.
You're young. You can put it off for another 20 years.
I haven't yet gone to Schwitz with the Altercockers in the Jewish Community Center gym that I just joined.
That's what I want to do.
But
I will say I would
wear my
Speaking of sauna, I've got to do this. In the WhatsApp, I put in a link because this is going to be a trip that you're going to have to take now that I know this, to the Therme Erding in Munich. It is a sauna wonderland. There are 23 distinct saunas on this page.
You have to help me convince Lisa that what this house really needs is a sauna.
What this house really needs is for you to hire another contractor to do more work.
Today, scaffolding put up on the entire west side of the house. We finished the south side. Now it's the west side.
And are you removing the wall as well?
Yeah. You're going to hear loud noise.
Are any of the walls okay in your house?
Well, we're just doing the south and west and hoping the east and north will be okay. That's
not good. That's half
By the way,
walls.
if you should open the door to a sauna and see this, it would be okay if you screamed.
Because there'd be no towels.
Hey.
All right. This is a show about AI, ostensibly, although I've realized long ago that that is far more than that. We didn't talk too much about this wild tweet during the World Cup finals on Sunday from a guy working at OpenAI. Levent is his handle. His description, he looks like a pretty young guy, is idiot, CUDA, OG, Harvard Val, Morgan Prize, Society of Fellows, one Hilbert problem so far, creating friendly, safe, delightful, super genius things at Anthropic. So he is an Anthropic employee. He said, hello there. The Jacobian conjecture is false. Thanks to my close friend Akil for asking about it. My other close friend Fable for working during the World Cup final. He came up with, so this, I don't know what the Jacobian conjecture is, but he came up with a counterexample. So, you make a conjecture and you say either prove this or prove it wrong, one way or the other. And he came up with the prove it wrong. And mathematicians have looked at it and said, yeah, Fable solved this. Pretty impressive. I don't know is it world changing, but there is a general consensus now in the mathematic community.
It's funny. They're the field that is most scared right now.
Yeah. 87 years the Jacobian conjecture has baffled. It's a 216 character long polynomial. It's baffled mathematicians. Nobody's been able to prove or disprove it. It is now disproven. And I think it answers the question, can AIs do creative work? Because there is no example out there of it being proven or disproven.
But it is a logic puzzle, though. So that's what
it's
they're
the
good
kind
at.
of thing it could do. In rough terms, the Jacobian conjecture says that a certain kind of polynomial map, one whose Jacobian determinant is a non-zero constant, must be reversible with a neat polynomial inverse. So what Fable did is it came up with this polynomial and showed it is not reversible. The New Scientist calls it the hardest math problem that AI has yet cracked. We know that it's solved some of the Erdős conjectures. I'm just saying, I don't know what to say about it. Levent is also at Harvard right now, so he's a smart show off.
That's quite interesting.
Haven't we always known that computers are better at math than humans? Like that's just a thing we already know.
I feel like is a continuation of one of the things that people said from early days on, that large language models and AI would be quite good at.
Let's see. So that we kind of talked about that with Nate. I just wanted to do the full follow-up on that. And I guess we talked about China and the 1-2 punch delivered to America's AI dominance.
The Dean Ball post is pretty amazing. We talked about it.
Let's talk. Yeah, we talked about it a little bit, and you and I talked about it more on our Discord, or rather, WhatsApp chat. Dean Ball is a conservative,
Manhattan Institute guy.
But his contention is that by giving away these open weight models, China is undermining the ability of companies like Anthropic and his employer OpenAI to raise money. Because who would give money to, and so it's communism. It's going to undermine everything. He says he didn't anticipate the reaction to this, and he kind of backpedaled a little bit, right?
Yeah, a little bit, but it was, but I talked about this with Jason earlier. And by the way, Jason opened his show with a plug for having Nate B. Jones on.
Oh, thank you, Jason.
Yeah, so amazing that
we should plug your show. It's AI Inside with the wonderful Jason Howell. And
so as we read his paragraph about communism, it's what Nate just said. Basically, is that he put it as intelligence was going to be, well, I forget the words he used exactly, but it was going to be something we all have access to.
I loved that.
And I wish I remember the exact words he said. Chat room, can you remember? But I think that's the communism that Ball's talking about, and that he considers a great threat. But sorry, man, it's market.
Yeah.
It's what happened in newspapers. It wasn't Craigslist who hurt newspapers. It was the internet as a whole that put buyers and sellers directly together. And as Craig said to me when I had him speak to my students early on, he was a philanthropist of classified ads. He left money in people's pockets. Same kind of thing.
I would also say that people have said the same thing about open source. Remember, Microsoft used to say Linux is a cancer because it undermined
right.
Microsoft's ability to make money in Windows. It didn't at all. The year of the Linux desktop is still not here, and Microsoft still makes plenty of money on Windows. I am hugely grateful for open source. I use a ton of open source software. In fact, almost all the AI stuff I do is open source. I run it on an open source Linux desktop, but it has not put closed source out of business in any degree. And so I think that that's probably going to be the same.
Is Apache still the primary web server being?
Yeah, Nginx is, but it's open source.
It didn't hurt anybody.
Microsoft, it might have hurt Microsoft's closed source IIS.
Netflix too.
But
Netflix,
so yes.
Netscape, sorry.
Yeah, they probably don't make a lot of money on their web server. No. Almost everybody uses open source web servers. But I think in general, open source has not replaced closed source software.
I mean, this is a very interesting take from someone at OpenAI, given those emails from Sam Altman that had come out recently in some lawsuits, I think somewhere in the rundown, perhaps, where he in 2022 essentially said that, we need to be developing and releasing like some open source models for us from a strategic perspective.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting. This is the email from 2022 to an OpenAI board member. This came out in the Musk versus Altman trial. That's how we know about it. Discovery is a wonderful thing. We have been having, writes Sam, extensive discussions around open source strategy. We'll discuss it more in our next board meeting. One thing we'd like to do soon is to create a language model with the approximate capability of GPT-3, which was at the time kind of the current best model, right? That can run, or maybe like the second best model, that can locally run on consumer hardware and release that. We'd like to do it soon before Stability or someone else does. Remember Stability AI? Remember them? In general, whatever happened to them? We think this helps discourage others from releasing similarly powerful models and makes it harder for new efforts to get funded. They never did that. They didn't have to. It was done.
So in some indication of the fight that's going on here, the Undersecretary of Defense, Emil Michael, responded to Dean Ball's post saying, quote, "Every industry ecosystem has its supreme village idiot. Dean Ball is that for AI."
Emil Michael said that? Wow.
Dean Ball has perhaps the biggest gap between actual IQ and his own perceived IQ of anyone in the industry, about 40 points.
Whoa.
Gives you some idea of the administration's reaction to
well, this is the problem. I think there is a lot of disagreement within the administration. There's people who are telling Trump, oh, God, you got to shut down these Chinese models. They're putting us out of business. And Emil Michael, who is in the administration, saying the opposite. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, we are very protectionist in this country. Look, you can't get a Chinese EV.
Which pisses me off every day.
Absolutely.
I would kill to get a Chinese EV. It's
and
better than anything
the only
available
reason
here.
is to protect
yes, it's pure protectionism.
American automakers, chiefly Tesla. And it's, it's not good for consumers. It's good for those companies.
It's not good for innovation and development. I mean, this is Jensen Huang's argument, is that more, and it's an obvious argument, and he's blunt about it, more open source AI means more chips.
Yeah, but let's talk about innovation. Jensen Huang, because you said that he isn't trying to protect his moat.
He's in favor of open source AI. He has Nematron.
That's true. He's got the only decent American open model. Llama's not. Nematron's the closest thing. This is from Axios. He told Mike Allen in an interview for the Behind the Curtain video series at Axios, these Chinese models are excellent. Open source models that are excellent should be used. Now, he wants to sell to China, we should point out.
And thinks that by being forbidden to sell to China, that is what has opened the door for China to compete with both hardware and software.
And
they have.
They have. I don't know if the presumption that Moonshot used GB300s else from other, stolen or from other countries is true. But I think Huawei entirely trained Quen on Huawei chips. Maybe, they're not as good as Nvidia chips. I'm sure that's true. And and I have to say for sure they're running the inference, right? When I'm using GLM 5.2 on a Chinese server, I'm using Quen 3.8 on a Chinese server. And so I'm sure they're not using Nvidia.
Well, as we talked about some time ago too, China being a controlled economy can devote as much energy as it wants.
Exactly. Plus,
it doesn't need to be efficient.
By the way, I would say this to the Trump administration, China is on the forefront of solar energy. They have plenty of energy because they support sustainable solar energy.
And hydro as well.
And hydro. In fact, most of their energy, I think more of their energy now is coming from sustainable sources than coal or fossil fuels. So, if you want to improve our economy, that might be a good way to start instead of shutting all this stuff down and making it better for oil producers. Scott Bessent told Fox Business that the administration is examining Chinese AI models for stolen intellectual property. He said, if we see that overseas models are stealing from our great companies, we have the ability to sanction them because of this theft. Which has caused some people to say, download all the open models. Get them all. Well, you can. You won't be able to run them locally. But
I didn't see reports on Xi's speech to the AI conference. Did you see more about that?
Yeah, let me see if I can find.
Yeah, tell me about that. I'd be eager to hear more.
Yeah, I could paraphrase it that he was very much, he said, for open weight models and spreading AI throughout the world.
So that seems to give lie to the speculation that he's going to shut down?
Right.
access?
And in fact, it could well be that speculation is coming out of the U.S. She positioned China as a leader of a new global AI order. He was a speaker at the World Artificial Intelligence Conference in Shanghai on July 17th. He said, open source AI is a historic opportunity and warned that unequal access could create new global divisions. Yeah. Mm-hmm. His address linked China's expanding AI capabilities with a diplomatic strategy focused on developing economies. This is why I liken it to the Belt and Road Initiative. Asia, Africa, Latin America, and the broader global South. The have-nots, right? He believes in technology sharing with the BRICS countries, the ASEAN countries, the African Union, the Latin American partners. I think this is very interesting. It completely counter to the argument that they're going to shut it down. This is where this was the conference that Moonshot had introduced Kimi at, by the way.
Ah, okay. Well, that gives me some hope there. I don't know what the reaction of the markets will be.
It also
Speaking of
pisses
which-
people off who really hate China.
Yeah. I want their cars. I want their AI.
I'm not a fan of repressive regimes.
I'm not either, but
I understand that they are a repressive regime, but when they say something that makes sense, got to acknowledge it. Meanwhile, we've got data center phobia going on. 142 protests this week against data centers across 42 states.
jeez.
Our data, our tax dollars, our seized homes, our utilities. This was coordinated by Humans First, co-founded by a former leader of the Tea Party, so you understand where this is coming from, who compares growing opposition to data centers to the right-wing populist movement that emerged in 2009 as the Tea Party. This is the new Tea Party. Protesters rallied against what Humans First called the unaccountable build-out of data centers and unacceptable infringement on our liberty. We thrive on water, not data, said one sign.
You can't drink data.
Pretty fly for Cis Guy says, are they protesting all data centers or just AI data centers?
Right. That's the.
You don't want the internet?
You don't want your bank?
Yeah. I understand. I wouldn't want a data center across the street from me. I completely understand.
Could they be made better looking?
They could be made less polluting.
I mean, yeah, I think there's a lot of concerns with these, both
Legitimate.
from a neighborhood perspective. They're an eyesore. They often have, higher noise levels than some people maybe feel comfortable with or feel like they were informed about. Communities often don't feel like they had any sort of they were not informed beforehand that a data center would be coming. It's because a lot of these large scale deals that tech companies end up striking to get tax breaks the negotiations occur largely in secret. And that makes people in these sort of communities feel like they've been caught off guard whenever a deal is announced.
There's also just a general uglification going on with warehouses everywhere. On top of data centers, there are these monolithic buildings. They're just ugly as hell.
I understand. I really do.
It probably tanks your real estate value too.
Yeah.
Well, especially if they use gas generators right next to you. Yeah.
All right, let's take a little break. You're watching Intelligent Machines. Jeff Jarvis, Paris Martineau. So glad you're here. Benito Gonzalez, that's the voice from the Philippines joining us, our producer. Our show today brought to you by Zscaler, the world's largest cloud security platform. You've heard me talk about Zscaler before. Of course, it ties right into what we're talking about with AI, the rewards of AI. In your business, you can't ignore them. If you're not using it, your competition is. But it's also important. You should not ignore the risks. And that can include the loss of sensitive proprietary data, not intentionally, even inadvertently. But of course, there are also attacks against enterprise-managed AI. And let's not forget, the bad guys use AI themselves, helping them to rapidly create phishing lures and write malicious code and automate data extraction. Steve had a great story yesterday on Security Now about AI being used to analyze the data that was stolen in a ransomware attack. And there was so much of it that AI was very helpful to the bad guys. Oy. I don't want to underplay, though, the idea that you might accidentally be exfiltrating proprietary data. Just think of an employee uploading your tax returns to an AI. I need to analyze them, right? Yikes. That might be why there were 1.3 million instances of social security numbers leaked to AI applications. Let's put it this way. It's time to rethink your organization's safe use of public and private AI. That's what Chad Pallett did. He's the acting CISO at BioIVT. He says Zscaler helped them reduce their cyber premiums, their insurance, by 50%, and they doubled their coverage. And they improved their controls. Watch.
With Zscaler, as long as you've got internet, you're good to go. A big part of the reason that we moved to a consolidated solution away from SD-WAN and VPN is to eliminate that lateral opportunity that people had and that opportunity for misdirection or open access to the network. It also was an opportunity for us to maintain and provide our remote users with a cafe-style environment.
Thank you, Chad. With Zscaler Zero Trust Plus AI, you can safely adopt generative AI and private AI to boost productivity across the business without the risk. Their Zero Trust Architecture Plus AI helps you reduce the risks of AI-related data loss and protects against AI attacks to greater guarantee improved productivity and compliance. It's best of everything. Learn more at zscaler.com/security. That's zscaler.com/security. We thank them so much for supporting intelligent machines.
So, Leo, Google's results are out.
Oh, I was about to talk about Google because they've unaccountably renamed NotebookLM Gemini Notebook.
Somebody on the socials said that was the first good branding decision they've made in years.
Well, it's all Gemini now, but I feel like everybody knew what NotebookLM was. Maybe not. Maybe we do because we talked about it so much. They also released new models, but everybody's saying, but where's your high-end model? Their new models are Flash, they're light, they're small models, and we're not seeing Gemini 5.
I think
Pro.
that the thing that is the most useful about the NotebookLM name is, I was just talking about this with someone in journalism when I was explaining to them NotebookLM, and I was like, well, it says most people don't know what it is, Leo.
Yeah.
And people who do might read the name and think, okay, it's another LLM. And then you have to explain the RAG of it all. And that's
you're right.
it is not particularly intuitive.
Gemini Notebook probably in the long run.
I dislike that Gemini is in there because I think that implies more so that it's part of the Gemini chatbot when it is.
I didn't ask Nate about this, but I think the general feeling about Gemini models is they're not that good. They're not.
I would have liked to have heard you on that.
They're not OpenAI Anthropic quality, which is weird because Google's has DeepMind. This all came out of Google. Transformers came out of Google.
It wasn't that long ago we said Google was ahead of the pack, so it just goes back and forth.
I don't understand why they're not. Well, we thought they might be ahead of the pack. Then I tried the model, and it was like, no, they're not. I have yet to see
I'm just curious as to how is Gemini lagging like this? What has led them, ostensibly, if you think about it from a pure resource perspective, who is better positioned to have access to training data than Google?
What didn't work well about it, Leo? What was
it just isn't. It's hard to describe because AI is so, as Nate said, jaggy. The capabilities are good here and bad here and so forth. So it's really hard. I don't think benchmarks do it justice. I don't think it's very hard to evaluate an AI. So anything I say is very subjective. It's very gut feel. It just didn't feel that smart. And then occasionally you'll get a model doing something really dumb. And when you catch it doing that, my general reaction is, okay, I'm not going to use you anymore. So I don't remember exactly what I didn't like about Gemini, but I never went back to it. I have a $200 account.
I think Nate made a very interesting proposition, saying that he wants the model to do one thing, and then he wants a different model to do another task, and another one to do another task. The writer, the producer, the editor.
Well, that's where everybody's going. I do that.
That's what you do now with your set.
Hermes does that automatically. You have a delegation. Everybody's going to be talking about this, where you have a model for different, like for vision recognition. I, in fact, do use Gemini Flash. Actually, I use a local model for my cameras, my security cameras. Go through a local Quen VL model that's very good. It's pretty funny. Calls me an older man, though. I don't like that one cotton picking bit.
Older than what?
It says, I see Leo, an older man with white hair, walking up the step.
Ooh.
You thought AI was your friend.
Wait till I get my son a hat. Then you'll see something. So, but that's a little tiny. That's like a 4B. I don't even think it's that big. Tiny little model running locally. You know what I did? I'll talk a little bit about what I feel like. We should have a conversation about this. I was telling Jeff this. I feel like sharing what I'm doing with AI. It's like people talking about their dreams. It's intensely interesting, the person talking about it. and it's like a snooze fest for anybody listening.
No, I
don't think that's correct.
No, that's not
Really?
correct. 'Cause I think it's very interesting. And I will. I'm sorry. I apologize. I'll do it in public. That I former Californian. I somewhat
the I Ching
ridiculed
thing.
the I Ching.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. I thought when you asked me, what question should I ask I Ching? What do you want to predict? And I asked for a podcast related prediction that was fitting the bill. I didn't realize that was considered as insulting. So I'm sorry.
I was not insulted. No. I was just trying to read the room, and my maybe I misread the room. But my sense was, here I am talking about my dreams
stuff
again.
You put online about your ad service, your ad structure.
Well, that's kind of stalled out right now. Lisa said, I don't like it.
Oh, no. Well, I was going to say, it's fascinating.
Well, I think that's actually interesting. What does she not like about it? Because that's the thing, is a lot of stuff that can seem technically as if it is on par with recreating another commercially available software made by AI. Sometimes the vibes are just off.
It could well be. Vibes are everything. My premise on this, first of all, we have a 12-year-old sales system that's basically MySQL, .NET, and a bunch of queries. It breaks down a lot. It's very slow. We have to keep throwing more hardware at it, but it's what we've been using for 12 years, and it's worked very well. And it does some smart things like it rotates the ad positions so that an advertiser isn't always in the first position, things like that. But people have been complaining about it for 12 years. So I thought this might be a good project for AI. And what I did was I thought, well, code is the best spec. You can write a verbal spec, but honestly, a program, if you can look at the source code, is a really good spec for the next program, the next generation. So I thought, well, I have the spec. I have the existing sales system. I have all the code. I have the database schema. I have everything. Let me give it to Fable, because this was when we first got Fable, and have Fable create a specification that we can then build on and improve. And the next step was then to go interview the users of this system, including Lisa, and Fable gave me questions to ask them, and I did all of that. It did a very complete specification. I also told it, I thought I'm being very smart here. I said, okay, I'm going to have Fable, but I don't know for how long. So what I'm going to do is have Fable, one model, do the spec, write out all the plans. I'm going to have OpenAI's top model, 5.6 Sol, review it. I'm going to have them go back and forth. It's kind of what Nate was talking about, but I did it kind of poor man's version. I didn't have some big harness. I just said, they all have names. Kenobi is Anthropic and Daedalus is OpenAI. I said to Kenobi, tell Daedalus you're working on this, have it look at it. And then I gave them a mailbox so they could talk back and forth. I said, every 10 minutes, check the mailbox. And so they're talking back and forth, right? Reviewing it, changing it, reviewing it, changing it. And then I was going to have the coding done because I thought Fable I would be either too expensive or gone. I was going to have the coding done by Opus 4.8, which it still is the next level down from Anthropic. And that's what I've been doing. And the other thing I did, and this is I've learned from long experience, they always talk about one-shotting. I'm going to give it a single prompt and have it do everything. And I don't think that's the best way to use an AI. I think a better thing is to divide it up into chunks you can review at every point. I really tried to engineer this properly. And so we did that. We built something. And then I asked Lisa and Debbie to look at it. And they had a lot of input because it didn't do the UI at all. It just did it wanted to do the back end, which I thought was the right way to do it, but it was my mistake. So they reviewed it. I had them make videos as they reviewed it because I said, you can tell me that's not going to be that's going to be telephone tag. You could record something, which we did with a Zoom call. But best thing to do would be you to go through the old system and the new system with videos and circle it. And by the way, Fable can look at these videos. I said, can you see what they're doing? And they said, yes, I can screenshot it. And so we did this whole back and forth. I have many, many videos, more than a dozen videos of them saying yes and no. And then I realized part of the problem was that the interface was so different. So a couple of nights ago, I said, hey, you know what? Make the interface identical to the old one. Maybe that'll make it easier for them to see what they want to have changed. That might have been a mistake.
The amount of detail, I just went through a few of the pages on the site.
Oh, yeah. You can, if
Leo
people want to see this, they go to pages.laporte.cloud.
It's mind-bending. And it's its own language.
Yeah. So this
very hard to
started with
understand.
just these first few. And I told it, as you work, write these all up so that I can review it and a human can review it. And these are the questions it has. Yes, it's very detailed. There's code. There's everything here because I wanted to make sure it was fully documented, partly so that Daedalus could look at it. And you see, here's Daedalus's audit of Kenobi's work and how Kenobi did it. So this is all fully documented right up to here.
Did you feel a little rushed because you were going to lose?
Yes, and that was the other. Remember last week I showed you Super Dario as he keeps extending? The latest, by the way, is I'm not going to lose Fable. I'm going to get 50% on my subscription. I still have Fable. I could probably have done this all with Fable, but I like the model. I like mixing it up. By the way, I also have GLM 5.2 reviewing this, and I had Grok 4.5. So I have all these agents looking at it.
That's the easy part. It's your wife that's the hard part.
The human's the tough part. She's a tough. Anyway, we'll probably keep doing it. That's not the only project. I'll show you one more. You remember I like to make bagels, right?
Oh yes, is this what led to that beautiful bagel pic you sent this weekend?
You saw. So
listen, I don't get all the notifications for our WhatsApp group.
That's okay. You got a job. I don't have a job.
It's true. I do get when I see a beautiful bagel pic, I've got to respond.
The bagels are fantastic. So our neighbor, I have a couple of kids live down the street, and I mentioned that I make bagels, and one of them said, "Oh, I love bagels." And I said, "Why don't you come over? You and your brother come over." And I'll teach you how to make bagels. And
I like this, the Mr. Wizard of bagels.
Yeah. Then I had a thought. I thought, I could turn this into a teaching moment. I could actually do the chemistry of sourdough bagels. And then I did say something that worked out quite well. I asked my Hermes agent to make a comic book for the kids.
What kids?
The kids. And by the way, it looks like
the general kids.
That kind of looks like me, right? It's supposed to look like me. And that looks like Sarah and Matthew. And it's on the chemistry. They even made it, the whole thing. This is a one-shot prompt. It made up superheroes. That's yeasty. And lacto. That's glutenet. There's amylase. There's Maillard. And there's the final one. That's lye.
What's the pickle doing
there? And
why is there a pickle?
Yeah, what's the pickle?
The pickle. That's a bacterium. That's lacto.
But it's a pickle.
Well, it does look like a pickle, but it's actually a lactobacillus bacterium that makes the tangy sourdough taste. It explains all of this.
Now, this is something we can get behind, Leo.
This is so good. It did this perfectly. It gave them little assignments. It has cute little pictures of all the things going on. It has a dialogue. We're eating microbe poop. And then I say, yes, welcome to all of cooking. Sugar plus CO2. Sugar goes to CO2 plus ethanol plus energy. It is a chemistry lesson. This came off, I was stunned. This came off beautifully. So this is a really good example, again, of, I think, how you could use AI.
What was your prompt for that? How much was the prompt?
Wasn't very, I have it. I saved it because I was really curious if it could do it. I didn't know I would.
Which model did that again?
I think GLM 5.2. Okay. But remember, it has other tools it can use. So it probably used Google for the image generation. Anyway, it was maybe a paragraph, something like, I'm about to cook bagels with Sarah and Matthew. They're actually, I said they were 7th graders, and I forgot they had graduated. They're 8th graders. And so I had them, it changed it. And I want to make it kind of a chemistry lesson. So can you make a comic on the chemistry of sourdough bagels? That was pretty much it. I didn't tell it what the chemistry was. I didn't tell anything else. Then I got pictures of them, and I got a picture of me, and I got pictures of my bagels, the one I sent to you. So I said, make sure it looks like my bagels, and it looks like me, and it looks like them. And it does. I mean, in a comic book fashion.
That poppy seed bagel is going to fail any drug test.
Doesn't it? Don't those bagels? But they look pretty
fantastic.
Good. They look great. They look like my bagels. That's exactly what they look like. Oh, I sent it the video too. Remember, we did a video with the club of me making bagels, and I sent it the video. So it knows what the bagels look like in the pot when they're boiling. It knew, so it was able to modify. This is a modified second-gen version.
Did you tell them to be careful with the lie?
So here's the funny thing. So we got an 8th grade boy. I thought, you know what? Let's make some danger. I did not tell it. It decided to do a whole thing on lie safety.
Oh.
Because I knew that would make Matthew happy. Oh, this is dangerous? Yeah. I don't know if his parents will be happy about it. Anyway, fun project. So there's a couple of projects. And you know what? That one thing Gemini might have helped out with, I really love Nano Banana. I think it's a very good image model, and it might have. I could probably go back through the transcript and find out what tools it uses. I know I could. But how were Google's results? But before we do that, you're watching Intelligent Machines with Paris Martineau. And
when
Jeff
you come
Jarvis.
back, I've got an update on the AI corn situation.
And the corn.
Your rabbit hole led me to wonder what's up with proof of corn.
What's up with the corn?
I've got a response for you after this ad break.
That
or
and
not.
Google.
Or not. Oh, I can. Okay.
No. Or not, no ad break, because there is, in fact, no ad. Except there might be, because but you don't need to know this, but we insert ads sometimes after the fact.
Hey, there could be an ad break or there couldn't have been.
It's hard because there's never a video ad break. So if you're watching the video, we have to make it seamless that we're going through it. So it's just a re-intro. So you're watching Intelligent Machines with Jeff and Paris. And now we continue with the Google results. So that's seamless. But
if recall,
they stick an ad in the audio, it also has to work there.
Oh, I see.
I never explained that, did I?
No, you didn't. No,
I kind of figured it out along the way, but I thought that this was a real ad break. Well, I've also figured it out because some podcasts I listen to don't do that, and they'll just be in the middle of a sentence, and then suddenly it will be an ad, and I'll get very angry.
Yeah.
So if you recall, some months ago, we visited a little website called proofofcorn.com.
I love this idea.
Someone was sicking a Claude agent on trying to get corn to be sold at Union Square Farmers Market in early August, and it put it on it. It has been a complete failure, it seems. There have been, what was the last update? It's like, here it is.
They had trouble at, finding somewhere to plant it? What was it?
They had trouble finding a person to plant it, finding the plot of land. It seems to have gotten stuck in some sort of email loop, but it's also confusing because the front of the webpage says the target is August 2nd. Sweet corn is planted and growing at Nelson Family Farms in Humboldt County, Iowa. On track per the farm crew. Next up, harvest. But then if you look up, it says the last action was 89 days ago, where it said emergency escalation continues. Project remains in critical failure state after 5 consecutive days of emergency decisions without seed purchases. And if you look at the full decision log, it does not appear that the corn has.
What did it say about Fred Wilson? That's a famous venture capitalist.
No, that's just what they
Fred
call
Wilson
the
is the name of the farmer.
Oh, the farmer.
Yeah. Or no, Fred Wilson, the venture capitalist. No, Fred Wilson challenged Seth, the guy who ran this. AI can write code, but it can't affect the physical world. And so Seth, at Seth, built the Claude code corn
Well, here's
farmer.
the good news. He's only spent $12.99. The bad news is, for many weeks, nothing has happened. Nothing.
Poor farmer Fred.
Yeah.
It's also unclear how much they've spent because if you go on the dashboard, it says the total investment's been $112.99.
So there's
still
some errors
not
there.
much. It all seems to be a bit nightmare or a bit convoluted. And the one thing I can say is it seems unlikely that corn will be at Union Square.
I don't think it
next
even got.
week.
It's unclear whether it got planted. The last post from June 15th said, continue prioritizing response to Dan Nelson's monitoring equipment inquiry while maintaining post-planting operations monitoring. But I don't think they ever really
planted.
Well, plus Iowa. Why would you plant corn in Iowa for New York when you're next to New Jersey, folks?
I think a lot of people forget that corn can be grown elsewhere.
We have corn down the street growing. It grows quite well in Petaluma.
There, if you go on the dashboard, you can prompt Fred to act by clicking a button called Ask Fred to Act. And I did that, and it went Fred's decision, internal error. So
I think it's broken.
Yeah.
And I think it was Fred Wilson who challenged him. So it was the Fred Wilson, I think, who challenged him. But,
yes, it was.
Seth, I think, maybe was the wrong guy to challenge, because the last post on X was, weather's perfect for planting in Iowa.
Too bad we don't have any.
2 months ago. Or a month ago, yeah.
Day of 144. We're just getting started. It knows the weather. That's about it. I think the real problem was they couldn't get any human to do it.
I mean, yeah, it seems like it totally failed in the outreach of trying to get a human involved to actually, because they needed to find a field, somehow rent or purchase some space on a field, get a human with actual equipment out there to also have purchased corn and plant it, till the fields, water it. There's a lot of physical steps.
Do not take this as a failure of AI. Take this as a failure of Seth. Seth didn't do a good job.
Maybe if they just had
Seth,
OpenAI,
come on the podcast and tell us about why you couldn't get proof of corn.
Oh, let's track down Farmer Fred and Seth. We could have a little interview.
He's at Seth on
I'm going to tweet
Twitter.
him right now. Because I am a blue check.
It's true, and that means.
And I know
something.
Fred Wilson too.
Well, there you go. Let's track it down. Jeff, you said the Google results
are out. Yep,
let me just guess. They made more money than God on, not AI, advertising.
Hosting. Posted 24% revenue growth year over year in the second quarter, fueled by its booming cloud business. But concerns over the company's heavy spending on artificial intelligence infrastructure dampened investors' enthusiasm.
Yeah.
Alphabet's sales came in at $119.8 billion, exceeding analyst expectations, but not by enough. Cloud business brought in $24.8 billion. Search $63.3 billion.
They're down $4.
But they're down about 4% last I looked.
Look at that drop. Boom. That was
but what's interesting to me here, Leo, if I can tie this to something else, is the hosting business. Meta is now those who can do, those who can't host. So Meta is now renting out the infrastructure it bought. SpaceX is renting out the infrastructure it bought. Google's making a lot of money from the infrastructure it bought.
Well, think
who are they
about it.
selling to?
What a great way to make money. It's the same thing as Levi's selling the jeans and the picks and the X's and the gold rush.
But if what you're selling to is companies that are about to be threatened by cheap Chinese imports, SpaghettiOs.
Meta's deal with Anthropic, potentially $10 billion, according to the New York Times. That's what happens when you buy a lot of infrastructure and you can't use it. Didn't Mark spend a lot of money on talent, buying Manus, and what's happened with all of that?
Yep. But so now he's renting it out, and the stock is up because he's renting out the infrastructure.
Selling excess computing power to companies like Anthropic, the Times writes, could provide Meta with a new revenue stream until demand for its own AI services catches up. Which I'm going to say, go out on a limb here, is
going to be a while.
Wow. On recent calls with investors, Zuck hinted that selling computing power could be one way for Meta to see some return on the AI investments.
That's
that's not great. I was going to say, if the way that you're going to see a return on investment is by selling computing power, that's rough.
Yeah. Anyway, well, good luck. I'm glad Google made money. I'm not surprised. Not surprised at all. The thing we don't know, I know we talked about this last week. I still don't think we really know what the true financials are of any of the AI companies. I know Ed Zitron got the, inside
Ed
scoop.
Zitron and the Financial Times got it.
Yeah, both.
So they both independently.
Slightly different interpretations, but yes.
Yeah.
But they're spending things on, they're tens of millions of dollars on things like midterm campaigns. They're spending money on odd things for companies whose profitability
because
is unsure.
they see that government is willing to put its thumb on the scale on their behalf.
Yep.
So, of course, the best way to spend your money is on government.
We also had OpenAI employees started their own PAC to counteract their CEO's PAC.
Right. Well, another way to spend money would be to give authors $1.5 billion, and that's exactly what Anthropic is going to do. The settlement has now been approved by the judge.
The lawyers got cut at the knees.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. They got cut way back.
Authors opposing the settlement argued lawyers' fees were too high. Remember, that's what stalled it. And the payouts were too low. It was going to be $3,000 per work. The judge overruled objections to the settlement as lacking merit. She emphasized about 95% of the class received notifications. Approximately 91% of the authors and publishers impacted have already filed claims. I did not.
I did, but I'll give it away.
Wow, you're so noble, letting the companies keep that money. That'll really show them.
Well, no, I'm thrilled that they took my crappy old books and ingested them. Only 350 class members opted out. That means, I guess, after they joined the class, right? They don't know that I opted out because I never joined the class.
Well, no, if you opted out, that's probably what they're referring to.
I kept getting notices that I should join in for a book for which I wrote the foreword. So it wasn't my book.
Yeah. I never even did the search to find out if my books were in it. Can you still do that search? Is that still around?
I think so.
How did you opt out if you didn't know that your books were in it?
I just didn't opt in.
You just didn't.
No, you have to opt out, I believe.
No, you mean I might get money even without saying I opt in?
I had to fill in a form and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I remember in the big Pop Chip settlement case where Pop Chip was accused of something, false advertising or something. I actually had to say, no, I want some money. And I did, in fact, get a bag of Pop Chips for free.
Wait, as a response to the settlement, they gave you more of the product involved in the settlement?
It's my I consider that my lesson in how all of the economics of class action lawsuits work. You get all that in a bag of Pop Chips. Anthropic author search. Let me see if I can find it. Here's the settlement website. It's probably too late, right? Oh, here it is. Works list lookup. Search by author. What do you mean? This is.
You got to click on the search by author.
Okay.
No. Yes.
Leo Laporte. That's me. Oh. When's my dad? When's my dad? Leo F. Laporte.
Well, but yeah, you should file for your dad.
But this one from Q Publishing, my 2006 gadget guy. Boy, they don't have my best books. They only have 2 of my books, not the best books.
Yeah, they only had 2 of mine.
Yeah, and then they should have really gotten all the other almanacs. Those are much better for ingesting. And then a book I wrote a foreword on with Mikkel Olin, the sauna guy. Actually, his name comes up twice in one show.
Wow.
I think we need a sauna show.
Oh, man. I think I need a sauna.
We should record the sauna show in the sauna.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what, Paris? I think we are somehow related because between drip, pour over, and sauna,
there's no way that people in the U.S. could love.
That's a unique intersection of interests. How's your pour over going, by the way? You nailed it?
I've been a little off it lately because it's hot. So I've been kind of cold brewing.
Yeah, cold brewing. That's cool.
But
I have got my formula. In fact, I just got some new beans that I can't
What
wait
beans
to see.
did you get?
I don't know. They're downstairs.
Plug your ears.
Poor Jeff.
It's okay.
He joined. We started a separate WhatsApp for Coffee Talk, and you haven't joined it, Paris, but he did.
I didn't know that there was a separate. I don't use WhatsApp, guys.
Oh, okay. Well, we can use something else. We can use Signal or something.
I mean, it's fine. I just send me the coffee chat one. I didn't know that existed.
I sent you an invite, but that's okay.
Wait, let me. Where are you?
If you want, I can run down and get the beans.
I see it now.
Yeah. So
I was wondering why we have our group chat as a community rather than just a normal chat where I can get normal notifications.
It's just the way it is, I guess. So their beans are in the mailbox. I've been looking for a good bean subscription. I decided based on references from Reddit, the pour over subreddit, which you're right is
the pour over subreddit is where it is, and it will drive you crazy in a way that you didn't know was possible before.
I have now 3 different Harios.
I hope one of those is not. I hope that you at least have.
I did not get a switch.
Plastic.
I listened to you. Well, it's resin. What is that? I have one glass, one metal, one resin. But everybody says the Neo. Everybody's saying, "Oh, the Neo. You got to get the Neo," and that's a resin one. And I've got the Abaco white filters because everybody said that. So now I have
the Abaco filters are significantly better. I will say.
Yes, I thought they're quite.
Are you using third wave water? I'm contemplating getting specific drops to put in my water.
Additives into their water.
Well, no, there's already additives in your water. Is the thing is your water already has a mineral mix.
I know.
And it's like, do you want to choose the mineral mix that you've got in your water?
So what I do is I have a it's like a Brita, but it's not. It's BWT. It's made for coffee. Filter. I told you this before. It filters the water, and then adds magnesium. Adds 2 minerals. I think magnesium and zinc. I can't remember what the second filter. But it's for coffee. It was the Coffee Geek said, "Get this." Mark Prince. There's many princes in the world, but that's the one.
Only a few kings.
I know. I'm sorry. God, where are we? 2 authors. Okay. The people who opted out were people who opted in at first, but didn't want to participate because they felt like they weren't getting enough.
Yeah, they could still sue. Yeah, that's the opt-out.
That's the opt-out. And anyway, so the rest are getting $3,000, Jeff? Is that how it works?
I think that's what it
is.
Per
work? So I could have had $6,000.
Well, no, I actually think it's split with the publisher.
And then, of course, the lawyers as well.
No, well, that's a separate. I think it's $3,000 per book
after the lawyers' fees.
Yeah, after the lawyers.
Okay,
which might be better than $3,000 now because the lawyer fee went way down. I don't know if that story has it.
And speaking of money, so that's $1.5 billion out. Let's keep a ledger. Here's $5 billion in. AMD is committed to $5 billion for Anthropic. Anthropic will deploy up to 2 gigawatts of AMD's AI GPUs. These are not CUDA cores. These are not Nvidia chips. These are AMD's.
This is a circular investment, isn't it? So AMD is paying Anthropic to use AMD chips
in their. Yeah, I guess it is circular. They're also going to do a multi-year engineering collaboration. I use AMD GPUs. I wish I could afford the Nvidia ones. And now we're learning that the Nvidia new Nvidia data chips are very efficient. We're starting to see numbers from. Is it Vera Rubin?
That's the next one.
It's the next one after Vera Rubin, which won't be out for a couple of years.
No, Vera Rubin is
that's the one
in production now. Yeah.
Okay. Is like 1/10 the energy usage of current.
Yes. That's been his argument in his Jensen Huang's argument in his keynotes. Is that the way that you get more compute out is by lowering the energy cost?
Huge. That is a massive improvement. If that's the case,
are they still making graphics cards for regular people?
No. If they did, you couldn't afford it. I'm sure you could. Yeah, you can buy a 5090. You can make that.
What's the graphics?
That's the previous generation.
Convention?
Where's the next generation? Like we're due. We were supposed to be due for that this year or next year.
Well, how many voxels do you need? So the 5090
it's for you too. It's to process some AI. It's for you too.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people use 5090s, multiple 5090s but they're $2,000 each. And, you'd have to have a motherboard that could keep them cool.
And you're talking about the top though, there's going to be the 6070 and stuff like that. Or there should be if they're still making those.
So what's SIGGRAPH? Isn't that graphics?
It's a special interest group for graphics.
Well, yes. Nvidia had a whole keynote just for SIGGRAPH.
Huh. They
Not
still,
Jensen Huang,
you know what? They're just hedging their bets. They're saying, well, maybe this AI thing won't really pan out. So just in case, graphics professionals, you ought to be using ours as well. Join NVIDIA at SIGGRAPH. Was Jensen there? Because this is not.
No, this is not Jensen.
Yeah, they didn't send the top guy notice.
No. But they're doing, well, one thing they're doing at SIGGRAPH is physical AI.
Oh, and you know what? Let's not forget, they're also doing video. I mean, they really are. This is really AI. Uh-oh, we're putting Paris to sleep. Okay, quick, move along.
Oh, you're not
Move
putting me to
along.
sleep. I just haven't slept well.
Tell us the latest on explosive diarrhea.
We can't cannibalize my pick of the week, guys.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
That's a tease. Coming up, explosive diarrhea next. After this word from a sponsor who wishes they weren't here right now. Okay, have we gone through all of the stories?
Can we play? Is this video we can play? Elon's version, a historically accurate version of the myth of the Odyssey?
Is it just nothing because
we
they
can
didn't
play
have
it.
cameras back then?
He did it with Grok.
With Grok. Right? Yes.
Okay.
So this is the scene.
I will return. I left my one love.
Yeah, it's just dreadful.
Why are they speaking in English if it's supposed to be historically accurate?
Troy fell.
What's the historically accurate?
There's no
view of
history.
gods?
This is all made up anyway.
Yeah.
The sea took my ships.
Oh yeah, sure. Sirens, those are real.
9 days adrift. Now, here
I have a hole in my shirt,
stranded.
and here she comes, Helen of Troy.
Something eternal.
No, this is.
She fed him a
Calypso.
potato chip.
Is this
Potato
Calypso?
chips were really
Yeah, that's
big
a Pringle.
thing back then.
I think it's a Pringle. Actually.
Sprinkles. It was a perfect potato chip. This is such crap.
Oh, it's awful. Wait a minute, though. There's one line of dialogue that's killer.
Send him home!
This is awful.
Yeah, not.
And by the way, does she look Greek?
No, she's redhead.
The whole complaint here is they have a black woman as.
It's
as
also
Helen of Troy.
an orally.
It's made up anyway.
Years I have
Yeah.
kept you here.
Is this the line?
Weep no
She's
more,
going to say,
let
spend
it
one
all.
more night under my roof. And he's going to say,
Build your raft.
okay.
Build your
Be
raft.
free.
Be free, Odysseus. No.
You mean some other thing. Not my passage.
Oh
Swear
boy,
it.
we can't watch any more of this.
What a scheme
It's almost
you
over,
are.
Paris.
Would have been better
By
with
Styx itself.
Nicolas Cage
I
right now.
mean no harm to you.
Then at first light, I cut the timber.
This is so god awful.
Isn't it?
Or stay.
Oh, lipstick's also a little bad.
Keep this house.
And every time they talk, you can hear
the ageless.
in the background.
Yeah.
Is she worth all this grief?
Grok thinks
They're the
Why
white
do they
noise
make
every
this?
time they talk.
Grok thinks acting is long pauses.
I am not less
And
than
whispering.
her.
And still,
And emphasis.
every day, all I want is home. My wife. My own halls.
Look at the
You
tear.
understand?
It's a
Here it
pearl.
comes. Here it comes. Oh, what's he
Yes,
doing?
I think you can.
Is he picking her nose?
Did he boop her?
He pooped her.
Please just come out of the sun. One more night under my roof.
No. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, you know the Greeks
Isn't
said
that worth
that
it?
a lot.
Was that not worth
That
it?
was pretty
Okay,
good. Yeah.
one more night under my roof.
Okay. Like Larry
First
David would be doing.
the funny thing is, first he goes, no. Okay. Grok, you know what? Grok must have been trained on Elon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty hysterical. That Elon would even post that as some sort of advertisement for Grok's ability to make
Did
video.
Elon post that? I don't think.
Yeah, Elon. Oh no, Elon posted above that saying,
Oh boy.
this we're gonna
is
make a
good.
whole movie
Oh, isn't this good?
historically accurate.
Oh, they did 2 hours of that?
No, they're going to.
Oh, please. And it isn't historically accurate because there's
But
no
it's
history.
all made up.
I
What's
remember
historically accurate about gods and sirens.
we were traveling through the area and we decided to go on a trip to Troy, where Schliemann discovered the city of Troy. Except, maybe it's Troy. We don't know. It's just some old ruins. It could be Troy, but the Turks are no dummies. They built a giant wooden horse, so you're really pretty sure it's got to be Troy until you look into it. And like Schliemann had no idea. They just made it up. All right.
Okay, thank you. I wanted that.
I'm glad we got that in.
Yeah,
It's really important.
It's a cultural moment for AI.
It's the torture Paris moment we look forward to every episode.
Hey, at least it wasn't an advertisement.
Could have been an ad.
We could have watched an ad together. And we still could.
It's not over.
Are there any ads in the rundown, guys?
Or how about some TikToks?
No, I haven't done that in a while. That's right. I've got to do that again, don't I?
We used to do Jeff's
TikTok demand.
Here's breaking news. Good news. Government officials are now allowed to put TikTok on their smartphones, on their government-issued smartphones.
Oh, good.
Well, now it's American TikTok.
It's no longer a threat. Thank God. But do you really think we should have government officials using their government phones to do TikToks? My son might say yes.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot they should be doing.
I was thinking about.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe it'd be better if they did TikToks instead of some of those other things. Netflix says generative AI was used, he probably shouldn't say this out loud, in 300 different titles. I was sitting with
saying, try to stop me.
I was sitting with Michael, our 22-year-old, last night, and he said, I am never going to play a video game with any AI in it. To which Lisa said, how will you know?
And sorry to burst your buddy.
I can always tell.
No, there's been AI in video games for a very long time now.
I know.
Yep.
You can't tell. You can only tell if it gets good because, I used to be a warrior like you, but then I got an arrow through the knee. You only can hear that a few hundred times before you start to wonder, couldn't they come up with something better? Ted Sarandos says, we believe it's going to enhance their abilities. For instance, The American Experiment, which is a docu-series. I actually hate these kinds of documentaries where they kind of fake the scenes.
And YouTube is filled with them now.
Yeah, I hate them. Well, 17 minutes of AI-enhanced footage. And I think the AI enhanced his hair. Do you think really that was his hair? Do you think he really had hair like that?
Now
everybody else is wearing a nice wig, and he's show this screenshot from Netflix. I'm not going to run anything. Do you think that really was the hair? I think AI had something to do with that one.
I mean, that could just be a wig.
A bad wig.
It's a fro, a founding father fro.
There's Ben Franklin. That's how Ben looked, right? Sorta. I don't know. Founding fro. All right, pick some stories and then we'll do a break. And
it was a weird week. There were huge stories.
Which we covered.
Huge stories. And then it kind of fell off. There wasn't a lot else.
Well, I'll pick a story, which is that there was one of the bellwether lawsuits against Meta in the social media addiction cases was dropped. But here, let me read it. So a 15-year-old Florida teenager who accused Meta of creating addictive and harmful social media features dropped his bellwether lawsuit against the company on Wednesday. It was one of 9 major social media addiction cases that could expose Meta and all these other companies to financial damages. However,
by the way, financial damages, which Meta estimated could total $14 trillion.
Yep. The lawyer representing the teen said he dropped the lawsuit because he was satisfied with the settlements he'd received and had concerns about, quote, enduring a grueling weeks-long trial. And the lawyer said they're proud of what this case helped accomplish. Of course, then Meta says the claims never held up, and this outcome makes clear that we will not back away from defending ourselves against baseless lawsuits, which is a little bit of a weird thing to say when it seems like the reason that it was dropped is because of settlement.
Well, that's what Elon's strategy is with Tesla lawsuits. If you can keep it out of court, it's always better for everybody.
I mean, it's interesting
here,
to do
this. There. It doesn't add up to 14 trillion.
It's interesting to do this in one of the bellwethers, though, because kind of the point of this is to figure out, like, how much potential financial exposure these companies have, and are they going to have to settle a bunch of them to have your second, I think, big, or at least high profile. Yeah, this is the second of these 9 bellwethers. Have it be, well, I guess we'll just settle.
Remember that Snapchat and TikTok settled the LA case, that big LA case. It's before it went to court. I mean, I think that's kind of the safest thing to do.
Well, the problem is that the complainant,
TikTok,
and
Snap,
the
and
lawyers,
YouTube had all settled before Meta. So this kid got some money, I'm sure. Go ahead.
Yeah. And what does he care? What does the kid care about being a bellwether? It's a life-changing amount of money. Yeah.
So he's 15. He said that Meta created addictive and harmful social media features. What was the consequence to him?
What was the harm?
I'm just messed
let's figure it out.
I'm so messed up. It doesn't say on the New York Times story. All right, that's fine. That's fine. I'm glad he got his payday. And I think it's almost always better to settle. Often with a settlement, you don't have to admit wrongdoing. You just say, we just want out.
He could have taken them down.
Maybe he didn't want to take
$14 trillion? That'll break anybody.
Have you ever been in a lawsuit? It is a nightmare for everybody involved.
Take one for the team, homie.
I think part of the allegation is that the kid who goes by his initials, RKC, basically alleges that he was addicted to these platforms since he was 8. It was against Meta, Google, ByteDance, and Snap that the platform's addictive designs caused him severe sleep deprivation, anxiety, and depression.
I was doom scrolling all night. I could sue them. You know what? I have to force myself not to pick up my phone at 4 a.m. every morning.
Well, maybe you should then. Seems to have worked out well for him.
I became a podcaster because of these people. Look what it's done to my life. Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching and listening to Intelligent Machines, Paris Martineau and Jeff Jarvis. Coming up, our picks of the week. But before we do that, I just want to remind you that this show exists thanks to the generosity of our club members. Club Twit is the best way you can support everything we do. I just asked Lisa earlier today how much of what we do is supported by club members. She said 35% of our operating expenses come from the club. It's a big chunk, and getting bigger, we'd have to cut way back. Now, maybe some of you think that's a good idea, and if that's the case, you don't have to join the club. You could actually not join the club and help take us down. But if you love what you're getting, if you value it, we'd like to get you in the club. It's $10 a month. You get ad-free versions of all of our shows, including chapter markers in those ad-free versions, so you can skip around. Skip all the AI stuff in this show, for instance. You also get access to the wonderful hangout called Club Twit Discord. You also get, what else do you get? You get all the special programming we do just for the club. In fact, we are going to do another AI user group. We're going to call it Token Maxing Time. This Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific. People are going to come. We're going to just sit around, and you know how you have play along where people play a game and you watch? We're going to have token along where you can just sit there and watch us toke.
But not toke like you might expect.
No, it's token time. It's a Let's
Sober
Bills,
token.
Sober token.
Nerd token.
2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. Darren Oki says he'll be there. I'll be there. Anthony Nielsen will be there. We can show what we're doing. And you can work along with us. Time to toke. This is part of the fun of being a member. So twit.tv/clubtwit2. Please join the club. We would love to have you.
Can I mention one other story?
Oh, now you do it. Yes, sure.
Line 103, Google is building a chip with Gemini baked into it.
That's interesting.
It is. Presumption is that it'll be more efficient.
It'll never be updated.
I have a dumb question, but how do you bake Gemini into a chip?
I can't answer that.
Maybe it's not that dumb of a question since no one can answer it.
The project, informally called Frozen V2, and by the way, information had the scoop. It's going to be very efficient, obviously, if the AI is running in microcode. You know, even the smallest models are many gigabytes. Is it going to? It's unclear. Is it an ASIC? The Frozen name comes from the idea of permanently etching part of the model into the silicon.
The hardware locks to the shape of Google's current AI design. Engineers can still refresh the model by loading new weights, but the underlying structure stays fixed or frozen. How much of the model gets hardwired is reportedly still being decided.
Yeah.
The payoff is efficiency. The information reports the chip could be 6 to 10 times more efficient than Google's latest custom AI chips.
So it's not, if it's not in ROM, it sounds like it's a custom VLSI.
It's in the instruction set.
Yeah.
No?
I don't know. I don't know.
I found that interesting. That's all.
There is another company, Thales, from Canada, which does, in fact, hardwire specific AI models into chips. They've raised $200 million. So this is not a completely new idea. Yeah, it's intriguing. I think that this is the opportunity right now for a lot of these companies is not to build a bigger and bigger and bigger model. Fables, it was Nate B. Jones who said this, 10 terabytes. But to find out ways to make it more efficient, to find out ways to make it runnable locally. There's all sorts of areas that you could improve on without simply scaling. And since scaling is right now the most expensive thing to do. Mm-hmm. Actually, I'm going to show you my pick of the week. It's a physical object.
He's left the chair, folks.
Left the chair.
Elvis has left the chair.
Because this came in the mail yesterday. And I want to thank Douglas, who is a club member. Hi, Douglas. He says, a longtime listener, club member. He is retired, but he keeps himself busy repairing and selling old Mac laptops, which is cool. His specialty is the 2011A 1297 17-inch 2.5 gigahertz, which I clean up, make sure the graphics are working, upgrade to 16 gigs RAM, put in a 2 terabyte SSD. He says there's still a pretty good market for them because they're repairable, upgradable, and have plenty of ports. He heard us listen. He was listening to the show on June 23rd, and there was a conversation about you having an issue, the availability and expensive RAM. So what did he send me? A box of old RAM.
Hey!
There's so much RAM in here. This is Ramapalooza. Unfortunately, none of it is good enough to put in any of the machines I use. But he apparently had some extras. And it continues a long-standing tradition. It's a hysterical tradition of sending Leo your old crap. And I'm not sure why, but he did. So I don't know. Anybody wants some megabytes? I mean, there's megabytes of RAM.
Is there one gig of RAM in that box? That whole box is 1 gig.
That's a good question. The modules are mostly the same. Let me see what the size of these. I can't really. It's such fine print. I don't think I can read it. It's made in China, so that's good news.
It's all laptop RAM too, right?
Yeah, it looks like it. It's not SO DIMMs. This is Samsung. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on there. This is 2 gigabytes. PC3, 1RX8 PC3 from, I don't know. It looks like, I don't know anything more about it. But if that's 2 gigabytes, man, maybe I can do something with this. I'm sure the throughput's terrible.
Yeah, like DDR2 or something.
Yeah, but wow, he sent me a lot of it. I mean, if each of these is 2 gigabytes, I got terabytes of RAM here. I'm set for life. Thank you, Douglas. I don't want to encourage people to send me their old crap. When we were in the brick house, we had 10,000 square feet.
How are people getting your address?
That's another good. He sent it to the post office box.
Okay, that's more acceptable.
Right.
Yeah. Jeff Atwood sent me this hypercube. He keeps.
I was going to say, where is the hypercube from? It's so cool.
You like that?
I like the cube.
It's got 3 settings. One is it responds to sound. So it could be like a little disco in here.
Should I get a hypercube?
Yeah, you want to see it up close?
Yeah, it's mesmerizing.
Are those new dials behind you in that complex there?
But it's
Oh, I see.
Ooh.
very, very.
What's that below your right behind you? Have you always been hiding that? I haven't seen that.
Sauna hat.
Leo, move a little bit to the right. What's that down below you, the dials?
Oh.
Has that been there?
Yeah.
I've never seen that before.
Yeah, take down the lower third, Benito, so they can see this. That is in December, actually, I'm glad you asked this. In December, I will celebrate 50 years in broadcasting. I started it in December 1976, the bicentennial. And that little doohickey, this was the first mixer I ever used. It's a Gates Stereo Statesman. It was at the college radio station I used.
Did you steal it from the radio station?
No, this is not the same exact one, but it's the same model. It's the same. It feels very familiar. I got very good at turning the microphone on and turning up the pot at the same time. These are all analog potentiometers, dials. And so, yeah, that's a memory for me because that's how I started in radio.
So you're saying that in December, you'll be celebrating 50 years of podcasting. December, a month that ends with a celebration called New Year's.
Oh,
Perhaps you could do some sort of 24-hour live
It's an excuse for you to get the sauna, Leo.
It could be a celebration.
We could do the whole thing 24 hours in a sauna.
We could have one of the hours be in a sauna.
With Apple dolls. All right. Paris still wants
50 years of podcasting, 24 hours of live streaming. It was
50 years of broadcasting.
50 years of broadcasting.
Came a lot later.
24 hours of podcasting.
It goes together. They said Paris is working on a whole other level.
Could be asking for 50 hours.
Paris, your pick of the week.
My pick of the week is the only thing I've been thinking about this last week.
Cyclospora!
Cyclospora parasite.
Is it true that the federal government decided to stop testing for cyclospora at one point, and that's one of the contributing factors
No,
to this?
that's it's like a misnomer. What people are talking about when they refer to that is there's a program called FoodNet that's part of the CDC that is involved in kind of like long-term like surveillance. And as part of CDC budget cuts, recently they stopped monitoring 6 out of the 8 pathogens or other things they were monitoring, one of which was cyclospora. That's obviously not good for a lot of reasons, but that is surveillance. It's a surveillance system that can't prevent outbreaks and
it
isn't
just lets
super
you know
relevant for this.
And you can kind of tell when cyclospora hits a community.
Well, it's also like that program only monitored kind of a fraction of the U.S. It's very useful for a lot of things. It's not necessarily the most directly useful in this situation that we're seeing now, which is that we're seeing like a massive surge of cases in kind of a handful of states.
Surge.
Sorry. We're seeing, a lot of cases in a handful of states and a lot more than we normally see during this season. And
is it all from Taylor Farms? Or
we don't
do we
know.
We don't know.
So on Friday, over into Saturday, Taylor Farms announced that it was recalling all iceberg lettuce from Mexico that it shipped to the U.S.
Oh, it's the Mexicans, of course.
Well, they're denying that.
Cyclospora for a long time was thought to be endemic to Mexico and a couple of other regions. And now we know that it can also live in the U.S. and things like that. But
it comes from night soil, right? I mean, there was a long time in Mexico. When you went to Mexico, you'd have to be very careful about what they call Montezuma's resents because they used night soil, a.k.a. poop, to fertilize their crops. And if you aren't immune to it, if you haven't been exposed to it and developed antigens for it, you would get sick. But they stopped doing that a long time ago.
I was going to say, I'm not sure that's direct. Part of how the cyclospora parasite is transmitted is, sorry, if you're eating, maybe don't listen to this, but it's when feces from an infected person is spread onto a crop in some way, either through like wastewater or maybe a manure situation.
Or Vegemite.
And then that has to sit out there for like a week to 2 weeks because it's not just like the contaminated feces. If you touch it, you get it. It takes a week or 2 weeks
That's
in hot, wet,
part of the problem.
Weather for it to
Yeah.
get infectious again.
Yeah.
And so then once that happens, it could be infectious generally, and maybe say that the crop is harvested, and if it's iceberg lettuce, it's then chopped up, mixed in with a bunch of stuff, sent a bunch of other places, and it gets very, very
So it's not like
complicated
one
to
person
track
with
down.
dirty hands does this.
No, not really.
The other problem is if you get infected, you will not necessarily show symptoms for quite some time, right?
Yeah, it could be like 2 weeks, and so that
So
makes
you-
it even
you
more
don't know
complicated
what caused it.
because basically a lot of these infections or outbreaks, we don't figure out exactly what caused it because that's kind of complicated to track down in food as perishable. And part of the way you get to even testing products is you have to ask people who've then, a subset of people who've gotten sick, reported the infection to their doctor, maybe to get treatment, then had that infection reported to a health agency. You ask those people sometimes a couple of weeks after they got sick, which is a couple of more weeks since they ingested the food with the parasite in it. What did you eat? And if that's even remotely accurate, then investigators try to go through like all of these people's food history and figure out what could be a potential source. One of the things they've identified so far is there seems to be, at the very least, a cluster of cases, like a multi-state large outbreak related to iceberg lettuce. And so as part of this, Taylor Farms initiated a recall, but it got really confusing over the weekend for a lot of people because shortly after Taylor Farms issues this recall, the FDA then posts an announcement being like, hey, just letting you guys know, we intercepted a shipment of totally different Taylor Farms lettuce, not part of the recall at the border, tested that, we found cyclospora. That was big news because everyone thought, oh, recall's going to expand. Then 24 hours later, the FDA is like, psych, actually, sorry, that was a false positive. But a lot of people didn't sorry to use the word that is now synonymous with a lot of people didn't understand that the lettuce they tested that was now a false positive wasn't the recalled lettuce, so they immediately interpreted that to mean, oh, Taylor Farms innocent. All a big misunderstanding, which is not the case according to the FDA. They said there's still strong epidemiological evidence linked.
And that was the epidemiological
lettuce.
evidence was the basis of the original recall, Paris?
That's
not testing.
Well, all we know
That's the
for
question.
sure is that epidemiological evidence has linked it. We don't know for certain that the Taylor Farms lettuce that is part of the recall has been tested by the FDA, and those tests have been negative. At some point during all of this, Taylor Farms issued a statement on Instagram that said something to the effect of, they said, the FDA has apologized to us, and no Taylor Farms lettuce has tested positive for cyclospora. The FDA has been unable to provide a positive test linking our stuff to that. But that statement has been totally taken down because the FDA then a couple of days later was like, we did not apologize to Taylor Farms.
And I know
So it's a
Consumer
big-
Reports is above the fray, but I will tell you that Taylor Farms CEO is a big donor to the Trump campaign, and that Taylor Farms met with Trump days
Well, they met with the
before-
White House.
The White House, okay.
Yeah.
But days before the FDA backtracked. So that is further, if you'll forgive
And when we
muddying
can't
the waters.
necessarily know whether to trust certain institutions these days.
That's the problem. We don't feel like we trust our institutions.
I came into our WhatsApp, and I'm honored that Paris responded to me because she doesn't see the WhatsApp enough. Just asking, can I eat lettuce now? What do I trust the FDA now?
I like to live dangerously, and I've been eating lettuce ever since.
Well, I mean,
By the
for
way,
you at
one of our
least-
club members says he got it, and it was not nice.
No, it's a very harrowing experience. I mean,
Is it worse than norovirus? I mean, it's like...
I mean, I don't know about the direct comparison to norovirus, but...
Because that's also a gastrointestinal.
I understand that it is so bad that you have to basically, for a lot of people, getting the very specific antibiotic is the only way to kind of stay hydrated. And
It's a bacterial, so its antibiotics will work.
Yes.
It's not a parasite. It's a bacteria.
No, it's a parasite, but there's like a very specific treatment that does.
And dehydration is obviously the great risk if it goes on for a long time.
Well, as always. Yeah. I always keep Pedialyte in the pantry. You never know.
So it's Bactrim? That's pretty common.
Yeah, I believe that's the name of it. Yeah, Bactrim is
El Duderino says the bathroom was booked for weeks, but he says, I think I got it from Organic Girl Spinach. It's completely possible. We just don't know that it comes from more than one place.
It's really interesting right now because we have every year the U.S. sees a rise in cyclospora infections in the summer because, like I said, it's got to be kind of hot and wet for that sort of thing to grow. It's something that a lot of people get. I think in the last couple of years, between 2013 and 2016 and 2023, the average number of annual infections in the U.S. was like 2,800-ish. So there's like low-level thousands. Now, currently, the latest count from the CDC, which is almost certainly an undercount, is like 11,000. Most of those cases are coming from a cluster kind of near Michigan that investigators say seem to be linked to lettuce. But there are quite a few other states that are experiencing kind of higher than usual numbers, and it is unclear whether it's linked to lettuce or something else. So there could just be, like that case we just talked about with the club member, it could just be one of the usual kind of upticks in infections, which is unfortunate, but happens. It could be lettuce related. It could be a different outbreak related incident that we haven't identified the source yet.
Food related outbreaks are actually not uncommon.
No,
and it's amazing, really, that our food supply is as safe as it is, I think. Because we don't have enough inspectors.
Paris, does this job make you more weirded out about consuming?
I feel like a crazy person shopping for food now.
So what do you do now? Well, how's it
my
changed
good friend who was a master of public health, he was at the Oregon State Public Health Department for years, college roommate. You'd go to his house for Thanksgiving, and he wouldn't even handle the turkey after cooking. He used rubber gloves. He was so weirded out. He has quite famously the Outbreak Museum, a museum of famous
I gotta go there. That sounds
food
great.
outbreaks. Yeah, I said, this is a new museum for you, Paris.
So what's changed in your habits, Paris?
I mean, a lot of things have changed my habits. I used to walk to the grocery store with not a care in the world, not really thinking about where my food came from, what the ingredients were, and I don't do any of that anymore. I think a lot about all of my decisions in a way that's, I don't know, somewhat maddening. In the case of this, though, kind of one of the things that kept me working for hours over the weekend is that the recall notice that Taylor Farms posted is really sparse on details. Like normally, whenever you cover or like write up a recall notice for a foodborne illness outbreak, as I now have done a lot over the last year, they list like, what are the products being recalled? Where were they sold? We don't really have that. Instead, Taylor Farms listed a bunch of like abbreviations that kind of, you basically had to like guess based on what letters you thought are associated with what companies. And it was just a bit of a nightmare. I was able to confirm that the recalled lettuce went to Walmart stores, was served at Jack in the Box locations, and was distributed to Cisco, which means it could go anywhere.
Oh, Cisco.
But there's also like 5
every restaurant
more,
in the country.
Food So Taylor Farms said that this lettuce was distributed by it to 27 states, but we don't know whether once it went to those places, it was distributed elsewhere. So kind of what our food safety experts are recommending is if you are in one of these 27 states where the recalled lettuce ended up, discard any iceberg lettuce you have, avoid it till we know more. If you're outside of there, the advice I've been giving people, I know personally, because all of this is kind of a personal risk calculation, is like, look at your own state where you live. Are they seeing unusually high, like higher than average cases of cyclosporiasis? If so, that might be a sign that you want to take some caution.
It's mostly
iceberg lettuce.
East of the Mississippi.
It is. Like, for instance, California officials, like with you saying that, Leo, like California officials have been like, yeah, we've got not as many cases this year as we saw last year. So we seem to be unimpacted.
41 states doesn't leave many out.
No.
I know.
I will point you to the International Outbreak Museum, which is at outbreakmuseum.com. They have all sorts. I think you'd enjoy this, Paris. All sorts of features, exhibits like this 2014 Florida Staphylococcus outbreak at a holiday buffet.
Physically,
this is my old college roommate, Bill Keene.
No, I know, but physically, is this a physical museum?
It's in Oregon. It's in Oregon.
Maybe I wish I had known about this.
Yeah, they have many exhibits like the famous Wilson's leather spray exhibit, or the Jack in the Box E. coli, or the venison jerky. He investigated. He was the most famous investigator of foodborne outbreaks in America.
I think it's a business
How
trip.
did I not know this when I was in Portland? This would
Oh
have been
my
great.
God, you missed out. You missed out on the diaper-changing Sation norovirus, the Pennsylvania raw milk, Campylobacter jejuni breakout, the Listeria soft cheese breakout. Unfortunately, it ends in 2016 when Bill ended. But yeah, he passed away, not of an foodborne illness, I might add. But this was his office. He had all of this in his office. He was a wild man. So yeah, I guess that's another connection we have besides saunas and pour over coffee is foodborne illness. He sold T-shirts. His most famous one had a fry cook on the front, was him with his beard, holding the spatula, saying, "How do you want your eggs today?" And in the back, it had all these a parasite egg.
That would be great to mix with my flaming rat T-shirt from the American Museum of Tort Law.
There you go. There you go. They should bring it all back. Jeff, pick of the week.
All right. So last week we were discussing Jensen Huang's jacket. And in the meantime, one sold at auction.
Oh, so these are the beautiful leather jackets.
Very beautiful, designed by Tom Ford. One sold at auction for $960,000.
What?
It was intended to be, the estimate was $60,000. It was a charity event.
Oh, okay.
But there were 45 collectors bid on the jacket, and it sold for $960,000.
He doesn't wear the same one twice, though, right? I mean, there's a...
Well,
many.
I think he might more than one, but there are many, yes.
Every keynote, he has a different one.
Some are like
That's
lizard
so
skin
many
and
leather
stuff.
jackets. That's actually really...
The
no matter
list
what the
price
weather.
on these is not cheap. It ain't a
In
million
the middle of
bucks,
August, he's wearing the leather jacket because it is his trademark.
Yeah. It's his black turtleneck.
So the other one was a story that has nothing to do with AI, but amused me. I giggled about this. Wall Street Journal. Rarely do I giggle at the Wall Street Journal. Everyone gets lost at the Pitbull concert. Pitbull is a singer who is bald, and so everybody who goes to the Pitbull concert wears bald caps and sunglasses. And when people go off to the bathroom
the same.
and come back, they can't find their friends because all their friends look the same.
Okay.
I
thought
love
that was
this.
amusing.
This is a great version of the Wall Street Journal's A-head.
Yeah.
Wow. And it's not just the bald head and the glasses, white shirts, black ties. Yep. There's a look.
So great.
Isn't it?
It's too bad it's Pitbull, but okay. I guess. Are you a Pitbull fan? He is from Florida.
No, I just,
You start walking off with the wrong
at
Pitbull
the London
sit-downs.
show, he and over 22,000 attendees set the Guinness World Record for the largest gathering of people wearing bald caps. Wow.
I'm walking and I'm like, oh, I'm with Denise. And no, I'm not. I'm with Dave. I don't know Dave.
I have it's not a pick, but I do want to end the show with a mention that my dear friend, the guy who started me in this business, I was a broadcaster, but I wasn't known for my technology expertise, even though behind the scenes I was writing articles for computer magazines and playing with this stuff. It was in 1992 that I started doing a radio show with John C. Dvorak, who at the time was the most prolific computer columnist in the world, wrote many, many columns, most famously the Inside Track column for PC Magazine. We learned just a few hours ago that John passed away Monday at the age of 80. He had a heart attack in March. And according to Scott Mace, who is also a longtime computer journalist, a friend, posted this on our Twit forums. Scott says he succumbed to complications following that double bypass surgery he got back in the spring. There's Scott with John. And of course, if you want to hear your memories of John, you can. There's been some beautiful pictures. And I wasn't at first convinced, but I did go to the No Agenda website. That's the podcast he did with Adam Curry and confirmed this in their chat room. And then I saw the newsletter, which came out just a little bit ago.
He was quite the character.
Passing. He was a character. How
did you start with him? To tell the audience.
So I was a talk show host on KNBR in San Francisco station. I'm sure you know Jeff. Mm-hmm. And it was an NBC station. It was a very famous radio station. I was doing the middays, and every once in a while I'd have John on to talk about computers because I was into it. This was in the late 80s when it was still pretty new. And at one point, about 1991, the program director came to me and said, well, I got some bad news for you, Leo. There's this up-and-coming talk show host out of Sacramento. We're going to replace your show with his. His name is Rush Limbaugh. I wasn't too happy about it, but he said, we're not going to fire you. We're just going to put you on the weekends, and you will do 10 hours of programming every Saturday and Sunday.
Jeez.
In 2-hour chunks.
No wonder you can do what you do to this
It will be food and wine. It'll be home improvement. It'll be cars. It will be real estate. I mean, literally, it was every subject. And I was announcer boy on those shows, so they'd have an expert come in and I would read the commercials and ask the questions and we'd take calls. And I said, well, I'll be glad to do that. But I love computers. And this friend of mine, John, is great. He's been
we're in
on
San
my
Francisco.
show. We are in San Francisco. The guy says, Leo, nobody cares about computers. I said, please, this is just this Rush Limbaugh is taking my job just for me. So they let me do 2 hours every Saturday with John. We got to know each other. And John, to his credit, did not treat me like an announcer boy. He realized fairly quickly I did know a little bit about technology, let me start answering questions with him. We later syndicated the show as Dvorak on computers. We stayed good friends. In fact, he was one of the first people on our podcast network. He was on many, many Twitch shows. And we always enjoyed having him on, even though he always got up into trouble. He would steal gaffer's tape from the studio. Once he found out how valuable it was, he would every time he would take a roll of gaffer's tape, he always take mugs from our cupboard. I always invited him back, but at some point, we kind of had a parting of the ways. He kind of got into right-wing conspiracy theories, but more it was that he started asking $5,000 an episode, and I couldn't really afford that. So we stopped having him on maybe 10, 15 years ago. He didn't stop podcasting. He worked with me at Tech TV. He's host of the Silicon Spin Show, which was very much like our Twitch show, a news roundtable. Then took that to the internet with Cranky Geeks, which I know a lot of you watched and loved. He was the original Cranky Geek.
He was.
Partnered up with Adam Curry, former MTV VJ, an early podcast adherent. In fact, he is credited a little bit with inventing
He and Dave Weiner.
With Dave Weiner. He went to Dave and said, if you just would give us in your RSS feed, because Dave invented RSS, if you just do an audio enclosure in there, I could put shows in there. Dave did it. Adam actually wrote the first podcast app. Anyway, he and Adam worked together at Mevio, which was a podcast company that Adam started, took over Cranky Geeks. And eventually he and Adam, for many years, have been doing a show called No Agenda, which is kind of a crank conspiracy show. They used to call, Adam was Crackpot. What do they call him? It was Crackpot and, they had nicknames I've forgotten for each other. The chat room will tell me. But
what I remember about John from his
Buzzkill,
her show,
it's Crackpot and Buzzkill. Okay.
Yeah, John never had spam.
I get no spam was his famous line.
Yep.
His other line was, you'll find out more at Dvorak.org/blog. He never passed up a chance to plug his blog. I love John. He was just a character, a wild man, very funny. He used to come and say, you got the new iPhone. Let me take a look at that. And he would change the language to Chinese and give it back, which is a good prank because if you don't know Chinese, pretty hard to find the settings to change the language back. It took me a while.
Before Google Translate.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we didn't have it back in the day. John, we will miss you dearly. I have a handful of recordings of John that I saved from his appearances on the show. I'll play a couple for you, just for those of you who don't know John, just so you can kind of hear what he sounds like, because he had a pretty distinctive sound. He was the original, the one and only Cranky Geek, right? This is one that I played earlier on Windows Weekly.
The search engine needs work.
Congratulations, anyway. I'm glad you got a job.
Yeah, I needed one. We got the deli. We got to get going.
The deli?
We're going to sleep at this point. I mean,
what are you going to sell?
What do you have? Like 14 columns? Cranky Geeks. You participate in.
I got time on my hands. Believe it. I'm a columnist savant. The columns don't take that long to do.
A columnist savant. I like it.
Yeah, a lot of people would make something else savant, but that's another story.
All right. Well, anyway, I don't know what it means, but...
And I have to say that now I can say for a fact that my...
Oh, let me play this one.
And I have to say that now I can... that my pulled or chopped pork is as good as anything in North Carolina.
Really?
Absolutely.
Are you making some
I've been
right
working
now?
on this for years, and I finally got the whole formula down where I can make it just a stunner.
Now, you said pulled or chopped. Which is it?
Well, you can. It depends. You can take the way I make it with shoulder is that you can take and mash it up with a fork and it becomes kind of pulled. It has it's got a stringer quality, or you can take the whole thing and then chop it, and it has a slightly different, more chunky quality. But it's essentially the difference is minor. The North Carolinians, they like to chop it, and the Georgians, when they make this type of pork, they like to pull it. They call it pulled, but in fact it's kind of mashed.
He was going to write a book about how he makes his own vinegar. He was working on a multi-volume history of the Civil War. He was really smart, great writer, and a very odd person. But his trademark was being kind of the opposite guy, right? The naysayer. I learned from him you can really rarely, especially in technology, rarely go wrong by saying a new technology is crap. Like this.
It doesn't make any sense to me that Macintosh is of all things. I think it's the actual hardware. I think there's something shoddy about Macintosh laptops. What?
You and your apple baiting.
Isn't he great?
No, I'm telling you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're hearing John C. Dvorak in his prime.
This is bull. I'm not trying to put down Apple.
But he's always serious.
I was playing with one of these
shoddy. It's nothing.
laptops. It has a shoddy quality, like the push down buttons and stuff. They're like offset. They're kind of crooked.
He wasn't wrong about the keyboard, the butterfly keyboard.
No, this is way beyond that.
I know. I'm just saying, if you take a long enough world.
He often said the mouse will never take off. Nobody wants to use a mouse. I
actually respect that.
The first colorful Apple laptop, he says, it looks like a toilet seat. He was great. No, I will miss him terribly. We're sorry to lose him.
Leo.
John C. Dvorak, at the age of 80, RIP. And if you are a No Agenda listener, or even if you're not, noagendashow.com will do a tribute to John tomorrow. I'm not sure I have the highest hopes. Adam is kind of notoriously uncomfortable with this kind of thing, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. And we will, of course, talk more about John on Twit on Sunday. I'm going to try to get some people who know John as well or better than I do on the show. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We appreciate your patronage. We do this show every Wednesday right after Windows Weekly, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. That's 2100 UTC. You can find us if you want to watch live. You can on YouTube, Twitch, X, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Kick. Of course, club members, they get special treatment. They get to watch in the Club Twit Discord. After the fact, on-demand versions of the show available at the website, twit.tv/IM. Or you can go to YouTube. There's a video link there for all of our shows. Great way to share shows with you. And best way to get it, of course, with all our shows is subscribe in your favorite podcast client. It's easy enough to do. It's free, and you'll get it automatically the minute it's done. Audio or video. Next week, we're joined by, tell us who Henry Blodgett is, Jeff Jarvis.
Henry Ferris might be able to tell him too. So Henry Blodgett's an amazing character. He was a financial analyst who was, what was he convicted of, Ferris? Do you remember?
Securities fraud.
Securities fraud, yeah.
Oh, that.
And then remade himself as that's not Henry.
Oh. That's the link I had. It sure doesn't look like that, does it?
He made himself
That's what he looks like
as a journalist, and he started Business Insider. And under Henry, Business Insider was a tremendous success. It was the original aggregator, along with Huffington Post. Frankly, you could go. It was more than Google was in the day. You could go to Business Insider, and they already had all the headlines you wanted from all around. They rewrote everybody, pissed off everybody, but it was terribly convenient. Then they tried to make special content. Then they got bought by Axel Springer, and they tried to do paywalls, and they got too big for their britches, and they become Insider and all that.
And they became Insider, and they moved back to being Business Insider.
Exactly.
And now they're run by a former Wall Street Journal head honcho. And now they're trying to not do aggregation. And I think they had a recent report that 80% of their stories are non-aggregated. But Henry Blodgett's uninvolved with the rest of that.
No, yeah. So he's left, and now we tried to have him on some months ago because he was using AI to write newsletters or some such thing, and now he has somehow a novel involved with Henry. Henry's just a character.
He has a newsletter called Regenerator on Substack.
And doesn't he? It's a. At some point, he wrote a blog at Regenerator being like, "It's a company of one, me, and a bunch of agents."
Yeah.
Yep. So I figured he's a character. This is obnoxious, but I would always see Henry in Davos. He knew all the
sort of
financial
person
folks.
you would see at Davos.
Yes, exactly. But he's a nice guy.
So we will talk AI with Henry Blodgett. That'll be fun next week.
But who knows what comes of it? We have no idea.
You'll find Paris Martineau and her great pieces on diarrhea and more at Consumer Reports, her website, paris.nyc.
Paris explodes the news.
I feel like you picked a good time to go to Consumer Reports and write about food safety. Like, you really couldn't have picked a better time.
It's my 1 year anniversary this week.
Oh,
so
Mazel.
Congratulations.
It has been a good year.
Yeah. No kidding. A good year for food poisoning. Yeah.
Is there anything you won't buy now?
I think Little Debbie, Hostess donuts are probably right up on the list.
She bought them anyway before that.
I mean, protein powder, I guess.
Yeah, okay. So,
but I mean, I just get my protein from other places. Everything with food is a personal decision. I don't want to give any prescriptions for folks, but yeah. I'm not buying iceberg lettuce right now.
Is romaine okay?
I mean, all of this is a personal decision. Right now, there's no data supporting avoiding fruits and vegetables generally, and the only source identified by federal investigators has been iceberg lettuce in a handful of states.
Okay.
So do we trust?
Because it's peach season, and I have a peach with my name on it downstairs.
I was going to say, someone asked me about peach. I did a Reddit AMA yesterday, I guess, where we answered a lot of these questions. And so I did some peach research. And peaches, I think, are almost certainly fine. I mean, from Cyclospora at the very least.
It's my favorite time
because they grow in a tree.
They're on trees. Nobody can poop on them.
They're on trees. You're not going to get poop water up there on top of a tree.
Poop water.
That's the technical term for it.
Jeff Jarvis.
They water them in the ground.
Besides being a brilliant professor at Montclair State University in New Jersey and SUNY Stony Brook in the great state of New York, the Empire State, as they call it, is also the author of many wonderful books like the Gutenberg Parenthesis, The Web We Weave magazine, and his newest Hot Type comes out next month. You can get any or all at jeffjarvis.com. I do recommend Hot Type. It is a great read, fascinating story about the linotype, the magnificent machine.
Did I send it to you yet, Paris?
You did. Send it to me again, though. I'll read it.
Send it to me again. You threw it out?
No. He sent me the PDF he's talking about.
Okay. Oh. Yeah, I guess it's.
I have pre-ordered. I've pre-ordered the book. I haven't received it because I think it's released.
Oh, you have to do that.
But are you going to do like a little launch party sort of thing in New York or anything? Come on, I'd be there.
I have an editorial question. Should we have Jeremy Rifkin on? He's got a new book, Rescuing the Future, Reimagining Artificial Intelligence in a World on the Edge.
I don't know enough to be able to answer that question.
I think he's like John C. Dvorak. He's an interesting character. We seem to be having some, Henry Blodgett, same thing. I think characters are fun. They make it fun. Anyway, I will think about it and I'll take your votes. Go to the Twit forums.
But it's not
community.
A democracy.
It's not.
No, I will consider your votes. I will weigh them. My decision. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next time on Intelligent Machines. Bye-bye.
If you like what you heard and you want more of this week's top stories in tech, well, subscribe to Tech News Weekly. Every Thursday, I talk with the journalists making and breaking the tech news.